I think that I am on here. Howdy and aloha, everyone. This is James with Montauk, and this is a show, YouTube stream, live, where we have people that come on and talk about all kinds of stuff. I changed up a little things. It's basically we discuss local, national, and world issues most of the time. It could be just me. It could be me and like 15 other people. Was it, God, last night? We had, night before, we had a few people on. And the political Avenger was on as well. And she brought in some pretty interesting information, and she was on with Eben prior to that, which was really cool, Eben Kim. But we have the show, we bring people on. Most of the people that do come on here, I think, are pretty intelligent, very intuitive. I think they're critical thinkers. Um, I don't think there's any nut crazy people or anything too, extreme, because there are some extreme individuals out there. And I think there's a lot of people that have some perspectives that really need some thorough investigation. And I think it's important. Hey, Cheryl, welcome. Hey, Matt, how you guys doing? Welcome, you guys. I think it's important that when we're talking about all this baloney and all this stuff, and whether it's baloney or not, that we make sure we don't throw ourselves into the Alex Jones propaganda conspiracy crap that happens out there. And I'm telling you, hey, Snark, and they're out there. There's people out there that that just get way too crazy, man. I mean, I understand. I love the amount of information that comes on this show. I just think it's fantastic. But I think what's superly, hugely, and majorly important. Oh, Red's in there. Hey, Evan, Garden. I think it's just important that when we speak of things that we do not have complete and total and absolute fact on, we have to say it's speculation. We have to not throw out laid claims or, well, we know Hillary's we know that there's a two-party oligarchy. That's pretty obvious. We also know that climate change is because of us, the human species. That's a fact that's been proven over and over and over and over infinity again. We know that we all need single payer health care. We know that there's some people on the hill that don't give a shit about us. I'd say the majority of them. But there's a lot of other things out there, like Pizzagate and Illuminati and the shadow government and some other things and 9/11 and the list goes on and on and on and on. And until there's an unbiased counsel that does a thorough investigation, I'm not talking about the FBI. I'm not talking about the CIA. I'm not talking about the NSA or any fucking government facility. I'm talking about like a world group that just comes in and just says, "You fucking lying sacks of shit. We just did a 90-day investigation of all your information that you've been putting out regarding this, that, and the other thing, and about 80% of it is false." And then they list everything. But we don't have that. See what I'm saying? We don't have something that's out there bringing out true and absolute facts. Now we have Nunez, and these memos that are coming out that Trump wants to bring out that could put a cap on a lot of things. But they're being edited too, I think, right? By the Democrats or somebody else. They're gonna bring them out, but then they're gonna edit them so that There's not too much information. So what we're able to obtain and retain, if my retention level sucks, I think it's important that we all make sure source on your 80% stat, James. Right, exactly. No, I know there's crazy shit happening in the world. And I know there's some sicko wacko fucking corrupt leaders out there. But if we don't have absolute, complete, and total tangible proof that these people are doing this, and there's a society of this here, and there's a this, that, there, then we can't. We can talk about it. It's okay to talk about it, discuss things, because everything leads to something. It's these dots connect to these dots, and these dots connect to these dots, and these dots connect to these dots. But sometimes you might have some dots that kind of go out, away. I'll give you a good example. If you guys know what the Forrest Fenn treasure is, Forrest Fenn, he's a guy who's been in the military, big artist collector, blah, 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 blah. Look it up. He's got this treasure, and I know these people, one in particular, that's been looking for this treasure for years and years. She's just obsessed with it. And I think it's good. I'd say she's the Indiana Joni, right? Of looking for treasures, which I think is pretty awesome. However, she's been led in so many different ways with this poem that he's created for people to get clues off of. And it goes in so many different directions, And then, so you need the time limit, you need to source it, you need to link it, you need to get to the horse's mouth, you need to make sure that you're checking your links that you're putting out. I see a lot of people that the majority of the time, especially in independent media, on every side of the aisle, whether it's blue, green, purple, teal, mauve. I don't even know what those colors are, but I know them. Anyway, and they throw stuff out and they say they got it from this link. That this person said that, and then that person said that. And even at that, we still need to make sure that those people are getting the true and absolute information. God, it's so easy to get stuck down this propagandist, marketing narratives and talking points and stuff that take you in the wrong directions. And I really want to refrain from that. And I think we all should. I think it's important that we are not like them. I don't want to be like them. I don't want us to be like them. When something really, really happens, Cheryl Vick will come on and say a few things. Stevie will come on and say a few things. Red Economics. Evan will come on and say a few things. The list goes on and on and on. Rebel will come on and say a few things. And Dominic and a few other Snorkel come. And everybody will say a few things when they come on here. But something has actually happened, or they'll say it's a fact, or that's not. I hope they're saying it's a fact or it's not a fact. I just want to make sure that we don't go too far into the realm of being seen as conspiratorists, to where we're not really staying on track. I mean, and I know the mainstream media wants you to go in their direction. They want you to go over here. They want you to go over there. They're manipulating people constantly, and they do it fucking all the time. And that's the sad thing about it. So you kind of have to pick out, get some other sources, get some information, and mold it together to where it makes complete and total sense, and then do some fact checking and find out if it's really happening, or if it's really happening or not. For a good example, word has it that there's a second shooter, that they're looking into a second shooter. I mean, this is on CNN, right? Even to say that destroys everything that they had put up prior. It's almost like they're contradicting themselves, and they don't even realize it at this point. They're just they lie so fucking much. All these mainstream media places, They can't even keep up with their lies. You know, if you ask somebody about a lie, ask somebody what happened the other day. And they say, I want to know the truth. And then they tell you something, maybe they're lying, something about maybe a work thing or a social thing, or maybe it's a relationship thing or political thing or whatever the thing is, okay? Or a criminal thing. Or then you ask them the same question, you know, a day later or a week later or 3 days later, and if it changes, then you're like, wait, didn't you say that? How come it's this? That's a great way to catch people in lies. Is you ask them. You could even do it like 5 minutes later, and the story changes. So what we need to make sure of is that we don't go too quick, too fast, too nuts. You know, I'm not saying anybody's crazy for bringing up information. You know, uh, Debbie from Sane Progressive, she throws out a lot of stuff out there. And you know what? A lot of that stuff that she throws out down the road usually appears, which is very alarming. That kind of stuff usually appears. You know, a lot of stuff that, believe it or not, that I talk about and that I say and convey usually kind of happens. It's kind of weird. Because in my mind, I'm connecting dots and putting things together and going, well, why would this happen? I don't think that would happen. That's fucking stupid. Why would that fucking happen? You know, it's just trying to use your cognitive thinking skills to make sure that what you're conveying to somebody that you're not bullshitting them. And that's what I don't want. And that's what I don't think any of us want. So we are just a group of people that come on and talk about things. Now, the great thing about this show, and I'm going to tell you right now, is people come on to vent like me. They release, vent, talk, discuss. I don't care if you're a Republican or a Republican or a Blue Dog Democrat or a Democrat or a Libertarian or a Green Party member or whatever you are. If you have something to bring to the table that is going to help the core of why I do this, which is to save the planet. I know it's a big broad stroke, but that's what I want. I want to save the planet so my kids and my grandkids can enjoy it just like I did. Because it was pretty fucking awesome when I was young. And within a short amount of time, it's really fucked up. So we need to turn it around right now. That kind of, it can't happen that fast in just the duration of time that I've been here. You know, you can't you have to think about that. Just in the duration of time that I've been on this planet, there are places where I wouldn't even have my kids go into the lake or that river. When I was a kid, it was no problem. You know, I don't even want to like them drinking fucking regular tap water. Uh, it needs to be fixed. We are at the precipice. Whether you think so or not, this is that time. This is that time. Things need to change. We need to not go right, not go left. We need to go in a totally different direction that takes care of us and all of its inhabitants. And that's why I have the show. That's what I'm saying. Okay, see who we got in chat. Oh, Christian's in there. I think everybody's waiting to come on. Ooh, everybody's. I'm feeling a lot of salivating there. Everybody wants to come on. Okay, let me grab the thingamajigger to post. And like I'm saying, please come on, enjoy it. There's some people in here you get some great feedback from, and they'll give you some. They might give you something else to ponder or something else to think about in regards to maybe what you believe is true or not true, or you know. But the fact of the matter is, we have to have facts to the matter. It's that fucking simple, man. Oh, all right. So let's be real. Let's be, um, you want to be. My who used to say this to me? My grandmother, I think, said this to me. You want to be true to yourself. If anything, you want to give yourself the reality. Because if you don't live in that reality, then things aren't happening the way it should be. You know, so be true to yourself. I think that's important. And Ryan's on. Okay, now I put it in the post. You guys are welcome to come on whenever you want. I put it in the Twitter also for the hosts. Others that do host here. Sometimes I will step away, by the way. If I have to go take this towel, in case I have to take this towel off of myself to go change, I will do that. Or if I have to go get something to eat, or if I have to use the lavatory. Okay. And somebody's waiting in the waiting room now, and it's Evan Kim. Okay. Hey, Evan. What's up, man?
Hey, how's it going?
Good.
And there's a lot I gotta say about what you just said.
Okay.
Um,
Want to wait, or do you want to go, or?
yeah, well, okay. Like I was just saying in my previous thankful Thursdays. So on thankful Thursdays, I thank people, and I gotta thank you, G, for all the stuff that you're doing,
Oh,
all the
you're
slack
welcome.
that you're picking up. That when I don't stream,
You're welcome. Okay.
um, but like when Political Avenger was on. I
Yeah.
mean, all that stuff that she says, from our standpoint, there's no way of verifying. All she has is her experience, and I'm not gonna not accept that experience because even though I don't believe in any religion, I know that other people do believe in their religion, and some of them believe in it very hard, very, very deeply.
Right.
You've got. I mean, that's why we call. I mean, if you believe that there are like radical Islamists, you know that they believe it hardcore. You know, some people believe in Mormon theology, the like Scientology. Evangelicals are very hardcore religious people. You know, they believe pretty strictly what they believe.
Uh-huh.
And so it's not hard fetched to find that some people believe in devil worship, Luciferians and whatnot, and that there are secret societies. They don't want to keep that open. There have been secret societies in the past. We even have secret government.
That's why they're secret. They're just,
Yeah. And the only way we know about them is people coming out and whistleblowing on it. Hey, Snark. And so I mean, there's also so many things. Oh, and Bruins for free speech. I thank him. Thank you, Bruins, for always being around live chat. Anyways, sorry, I'm kind of like going off from previous uh
like I
thing.
don't. My God.
Yeah. But I mean, just take WikiLeaks. So far, is there any part of WikiLeaks that's false? I mean, we haven't been able to prove it
No.
that any of them is misleading or
That's a
false
good
at all.
point.
Now, if there are stuff like that that we know that there's a lot of occult stuff going on that they were even talking about, and I'm not just talking about pizza and pasta, even that's some weird stuff. And the FBI, when they're actually looking at child molesters, the entire Pizzagate, uh, that's on the official FBI.gov sites, the government sites.
Right.
I mean, that stuff is there. That stuff is in the emails. That stuff is in WikiLeaks. So you can't, if you're going to accept one part of WikiLeaks, you can't not accept the other parts of WikiLeaks. Is all I'm saying. So just because you don't believe it, I don't believe it, doesn't mean others don't believe it and aren't doing the things that they believe in. There are people who, you know, those snake dancers, whatever you call them, the people who dance with snakes and
snake charmers.
snake charmers. There you go. People
Yeah.
do that. People who burn themselves alive in those Western religions, who they've done that. They've burned themselves alive for their religion. There are people religions where they burned others alive because of they didn't believe in the religion they wanted to force them to believe in. So there's a lot of bad shit that happens because of religion and people who are so deeply held within that religious belief.
True.
Anyways, I mean, but yeah, I am gonna go by what I can go by evidence, go by just analytical thinking, but I'm not gonna dismiss it. You can't find out the truth if you don't go looking for it. So Even if the truth goes down some rabbit hole paths, you gotta go down the rabbit hole if you want to figure something out or see similarities, see the details, all this other stuff.
I wonder how much of religion is more like we each have a vehicle to get to the end result. And I wonder how much it could be real or not real, but it is a vehicle, instead of something. I'm trying to figure out how I want to say that.
Yeah, I mean, these religions, especially the popular ones, the people at the top of those religions are very, very wealthy. That's you can't disregard that. I mean, name one.
Hell no, I don't disregard that whatsoever. I mean, if you're a religious poor person doing good for humanity, then that's actually the problem. When it comes to when it comes to like the greedy religious rich people, I don't like their fucking moral authority whatsoever. I was like, who the fuck are you to judge? I mean, you're basically, you should really look at yourself before you start judging others.
Yeah, and you even look at the Dalai Lama. How much money do you think he has? You would think he doesn't have any because his entire premise is not about greed. But he's able to go everywhere. He's able to raise funds, get money to go to one part of the planet to another part of the planet, to bring his entourage of other Buddhist monks. He probably spends more money than I'll ever make in my lifetime, or anyone else here. And just because people give him money because he's the Dalai Lama, they pay for his travel or whatever. I don't think he's going to use that money to buy like a Porsche or like a jet plane, but he gets that money to stay in places, to get in places, and
he doesn't need that. He doesn't.
And he also uses. He writes a lot of books too. I know I've bought several of his books back in the day, but and his books are pretty good. I don't know if anybody's like read any of them, but a lot of them are about applying like some of the basic philosophies of Buddhism to improve your life, because I mean, like, so much of our stuff is wrapped up in like this materialistic like capitalism, and stuff like that, and it's hard to lose track and get stuck in that. And so, like, there's a lot of, he's got a lot of solid advice. So, I mean, he's definitely worth reading. But, I mean, I don't know if that goes to fund his trips or the people with him, or if that's separate. But that's something, I mean, I never really thought about it. It's something, worth looking into.
Okay, so this is important. So, remember in The Matrix when that guy's eating that steak? I know this isn't a real steak. I know it's not delicious, but I know it's not real, but it is delicious. It's firm and all this other stuff. So what I'm saying is, yes, there's beliefs out there that people believe that most people think are just fucking crazy. But then there's also some beliefs out there that are at the cusp of being revealed as being true. So in regards to some conspiracy theory, here's this conspiracy theory, and there's several of them out there, that the Dalai Lama that is the pronounced or announced Dalai Lama, people in Tibet, there were a bunch of them that lifted up, there was a big revolt in regards to them saying that wasn't the real one, that the current Dalai Lama wasn't the real Dalai Lama. It was manufactured by the Chinese government. There was some conspiracy theories in regard to that, but so we don't know. Do we listen to those people that are saying that that's actually happening, or do we listen to everybody else, the majority of people?
Do you know how a Dalai Lama gets picked, James?
Yes, they have to pick things from their past life. They have to choose certain things. But if you look it up, that this is not the real Dalai Lama. There's plenty of stuff on it. Yeah, I understand how that all works, but my biggest point is that even though there's things out there that have not been totally and fully and absolutely proven completely factually to the T point true, even though there's things like that, they're everywhere. They're everywhere. We have to make sure, I think, as a species of intelligence moving forward, is to get closer to absolute and pure fact to make sure that we can launch Elon Musk rockets and land them. They have to have that information. Just like Snork is an engineer, he can't rely on speculation and hype, stuff like that. He has to make sure that things are working absolutely correct. And even at that, there are some problems at times.
Well, you do rely on speculation in some things, and you also have to rely on other people who are specialists and use and hope that they were correct. There's even in like software testing that I do, you have to make assumptions. You can't test everything. So, Snort, give your perspective.
So we're not.
Yeah. You do have some assumptions you have to make. Every assumption that you add to the list is another risk. So you try to nail down as much as you can, but there's always some fudge range.
That's a good point. So the political avenger is making, and I've done it too, and I still do it. She's making these assumptions. She's throwing out these laid claims, and she's pointing out information that she's taking a risk on. Just as the DNC/Dumbocrats and their marketing team is throwing out Russiagate and Russia. They're taking a giant risk, which it obviously is a giant risk, that they're going to be totally fucking wrong. You see what I'm saying? So it's just everybody's fucking throwing out bullshit.
Well, and sometimes it's kind of hard to differentiate between circumstantial evidence and like probable cause. I mean, some of these things, if it's not, I mean, it's based on like the strength of the facts of the matter. So it's like if you have really strong evidence backing up your claims, it's more of a, there was a crime committed, we have probable cause, or just some things are just, it's just circumstantial, like, and it's hard because sometimes like you see all these like false numbers. I mean, you see the way people like manipulate numbers and stuff in order to back up their facts. It's like, it's hard to know where to trust it, the information.
But you also have to look at some of the signs, the details. You've been in the military, James, right?
Roger that.
What's the symbol of the Medal of Honor? What's the symbol of the Medal of Valor?
What does it look like?
If
you showed it to me, I could tell you. I'm pretty sure.
Pentagram.
I don't have one.
Here, I'll show you. It's a pentagram. Why would it be a pentagram? And then also, if you look at where Trump signs a couple of things, if you look at the backdrop, you'll see a lot of occultism. I mean, you also see a lot of occultism in movies, in media, in pop, like people who do songs. You've seen it in like Katy Perry, Lady Gaga. They're very out there. People making the occultism signs of all these types of like photo ops, like Vogue or wherever. You'll see Jay-Z with that lady who does the occultism thing.
Yeah, the fucking dinner girl.
Yeah, the dinner girl.
Blood dinners.
Dinner girl.
So, how do you explain
dinner
all
girl?
I think like some of this just kind of sounds like it's like maybe an overlap because of the kind of person that is willing to sacrifice, the quality of life of millions of people, billions around the world, is like this kind of person that would kind of gravitate towards a lot of those activities. I mean, you keep sinking deeper and darker into this stuff, and it's like, they just have to do something a little bit more extreme. So, some people might lash out by, saying, God damn it. But then, like, there's other people that just go, like, totally flip and, end up, like, doing some of this messed up stuff you see in the media and stuff and government.
I had a totally different picture in my head.
Yeah, so you can see
a Pentagon, man.
Yeah, and your police force too.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe Stemhammer 666 is on that side.
I mean, if you see
I don't know. So
a lot of
you
backdrops,
have to ask him yourself.
No, I'm kidding. I'm fucking
like when they're signing stuff, they're doing it within. It's interesting to look at some of these videos. I mean, you've always got to have. I think that's the thing. I always have a skeptical mind. But when you're taking it into account, I mean, we've got the Pentagon, we've got the pentagram within the Washington D.C. He's kind of taking into account. Oh, it's just coincidence. When it's coincidence after coincidence after coincidence, and you're seeing it everywhere, it's not just coincidence.
Right. Anyway, can you put that up again? Or
Me?
put something up again? Put that up. Just so Evan.
Okay. This.
Yeah.
All right.
So that's kind of alarming. I mean,
and then also, if you look at Albert Pike, he was one of the people who were mentioned within my talk with Political Avenger. Do you know that Albert Pike was a 33rd Freemason, and he served in the Confederate Army, and he's the only one that has a statue of him of the Confederate Army in Washington D.C. So why is
they haven't taken it down? Nobody's taken it down.
Yeah, but why didn't they make one of Robert E. Lee? He's more famous as a general for the Confederate Army.
That's totally true.
Why Albert Pike?
Wow.
So some things you just have to think about.
Well, some things are. I mean, if there's a guy I put a video on my Twitter and my Facebook in regards, and I put it in the host too. This English dude, did the whole thing about the Illuminati and all the people that really run the governments and all this other stuff, and it was lengthy. It was like an hour and a half. I actually fucking watched the whole thing, in bits and pieces. But I mean, he linked everything to everything else, and the reasons why, and all this other stuff. And I could have just sit back and laid back and go, "Hot damn, that seems like it's really happening." But I don't. But it's just from his perspective.
Mm-hmm.
That's what if somebody can get somebody to say, recently they had in some memo, somebody was saying there's a secret society and they were talking to each other. Am I correct? Some memo or something they were talking about, right?
And there's also been some people who've gone out, left it, and some testimonies. There's a video that I put a link to. Yeah. Or Political Avenger did. You got to listen to it. It's some person, I think he's Swedish.
Pretty high up on the totem pole.
He got way up there. I mean, a lot of money going around. And when he talks about how they sacrifice kids in their rituals, you can just see him just start tearing up and like.
Oh, dude, you got to send me that link.
I'll find my links of high-ranking law enforcement that got out of it because it's happening in the law enforcement.
Yeah, and
so what if this is really happening?
I mean, we know that there's like pedophiles in Hollywood, pedophiles in government. I mean, does that mean that there's no pedophile ring?
What
You do
in
know
the
that-
fuck is that? Is all of this stuff, and we've been talking about a lot of this stuff for a while because this stuff is surfacing constantly.
Mhm.
The thing is it's coming. It's hitting its boiling point to where it's going to knock the fucking top of the pot, the cover off the top of the pot, and it's going to be exposed soon. And for a political avenger to be out there, kind of spearheading a lot of, and she's not the only one. There's thousands of them out there. So this stuff is going to be exposed, I think, a lot sooner than usual. This new memo coming up, the Nunes memo, could really put a damper on Obama. Am I correct? For spying? Is that part of
Put a
it?
damper on pretty much
Everything.
a lot of Democrats, a lot of Republicans.
Don't want this to come out.
Yep.
Everybody's saying
scared.
don't.
They're
Then
scared.
what that does is it cracks. It puts the crack. You guys ever had a crack in your windshield where it's just a little rock hits it and all of a sudden it grows
Mm-hmm.
and it grows and it grows? This is that rock.
Mm-hmm.
If they let it out, if now they're saying that they want to edit it and they're going to have people edit it and all this other shit, which if
No,
you
they
edit
should
it,
leave it unedited.
yeah, of course. But if they do edit it, then it's just fucking bullshit. But
Yeah.
if they bring it out the way it was originally laid out in its truest, purest, original form, which most things should be, then that could be the fucking little rock that starts the crack in the windshield, and then that little crack goes all over the place. All right.
It's like picking up a piece of wood. You see like a little a bug on a piece of wood, and then you pull up the whole wood, and then all of a sudden you see a bunch
That's another
of
great analogy. Who's got a good analogy?
A sunken ship,
I was out in the
Okay, what do you
garden
mean? How does
today.
that a sunken ship? What do you mean?
like like what you call it? It's like like with the Titanic.
A small crack, right?
Yep, and it just sinks the whole entire boat.
Or like a dam, a crack in a dam, right? And all it takes is a
Exactly.
small crack, and that water keeps going through. Water is very powerful. Now, if they do not redact it or edit it, and if it comes out in its purest form, that is going to start a fucking cavalcade of shit. Whatever happened to what's his name visiting Julian Assange, Rohrbacher? Do you guys ever think about that?
That's what I want to know.
Nothing ever happened to that. Never nothing. It's kind of like don't talk about it. You know what I mean? Nothing ever happened with that. If this doesn't come out, to even bring that up, and it has information indicating the FBI fucking up because they just lost 5 months full of coded notes. Am I right? They all of a sudden said they lost a bunch of information.
Mm-hmm.
This is
Find it.
Yeah.
So I gotta get going. Work on some stuff tomorrow at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Dr. Shiva is gonna be on. So if you can make it, try to make it. It's gonna be an interview discussion. It's not gonna be like a town hall. He's gonna come in and talk about. We can ask him questions, but I would just want it to be a free-flowing conversation like we have. Give him most of the air to talk. He did withdraw from the Republican Party. He's running as an independent. He withdrew back in November 11th, 2017. He's pretty much against Monsanto. He's very pro non-censorship, pro First Amendment. And he raised something like $2.1 million over his fundraising in 2017. That's a pretty good amount. And I contacted Bullshit Man and Hard Bastard. Hard Bastard, he said, hey, if he's willing to go on a show, he'll interview him. So Hard Bastard might interview him.
Sweet.
That's really cool.
So anyways, that's all I want to say. I'll be watching, listening in. I'll even probably pop back in if there's like a topic where like, oh, I gotta say something.
Like you always do, bro. It's cool, man.
Yeah. All right.
Awesome.
See
Good
you.
news.
One.
Dr.
Yeah.
Shiva, tomorrow at 2 Eastern Time. I'll remind everybody later, too. Thanks, Evan.
Thanks,
And
everybody.
there's Ryan from Australia. Hey,
Hey.
Ryan. How are you, brother? Good seeing you.
Hey, Ryan.
Sorry, I won't do the accent anymore. I'm shitty at it. But you get, Kristen, you know what I'm saying? We just, I think we're getting close to something really big happening here. It's not like Watergate. Watergate was something like on the surface. It didn't really expose or take down too much. It just took out a president and a few other of his, henchmen,
Cabinet.
if you know what I'm
Henchmen.
saying, and the cabinet, people in his cabinet.
Mhm.
But this memo that comes out of Nunez, if it's indicated in any way that Obama spied on Trump at any point or anything close to that, the DNC's gone. And if I'm telling you right now, if the DNC starts to go down, they'll pull the Republicans with them. Because I think they're so connected to the hip. I just think they're so. It's like, it's like two twins. Here's another
Siamese
analogy:
twins.
like two twins, and then, oh crap, they're
Conjoined.
connected to the hip.
Yeah, the conjointed, yeah.
Yeah,
What's that noise?
I don't know.
Okay, it stopped.
Go ahead, Ryan.
That'd be the rain here.
What was it? It's Ryan. Ryan had a noise.
Oh, Ryan had
I like the shirt, bro. How
Thanks,
are you
man.
wearing that shirt? Isn't it blistering hot where you're at?
That's a thin shirt.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, it's the air conditioner. Sorry,
No
Oh,
worries.
no worries.
I got trimmed today, so
Ooh, looking
Awesome.
high and tight, bro.
this poodle's looking pretty sharp. That's
Hey,
my
do they-
phone. Hang on.
Hey, do they? Okay. What's the military like? That almost looks like a military haircut you got there, bro.
No,
Looks nice. Looks good.
I like it all. And maybe I can
Okay.
see just nice and neat at a proper barber. So
Wow, handsome son of a bitch.
our military shit relies on the US too much.
Really?
Yeah, and we've got we just spent $100 and something billion we don't have on 6 submarines, and we're getting that failed F-15 or whatever it is.
Mhm.
The one that they just never seem to get all the bugs ironed out of.
Right.
And they took one of them and they crashed it.
Oh, wow.
$85 million.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah,
So
they
you-
don't know.
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry, they don't know how it crashed. And I turned around and said, "Well, there's the sky, there's the ground, the two collided." That's how it crashed. I mean, they're putting it down to pilot error, which is always, yeah.
Now, all those submarines that you talked about, are they even made in Oz? Are they made in Australia, or are they imported from the US?
Japan.
Right?
Japan.
Oh, Japan. Okay.
And Japan.
Mm.
Yeah. We took a fleet of they were called Colin class submarines, and they built them all at once, not one at a time like they usually do. But they leaked. Once they got down to a certain pressure, they started to leak, and you got into all the electronics, and apparently there was a submarine that was stuck underwater, so they had to send a ship out to bring it back up, and just this. I don't know if you know Benny Hill.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
the way,
Yeah, Benny Hill. We're the Benny Hill of the world's armies. Yeah, go look up Benny Hill on YouTube.
That's it.
Yeah, that's it.
I like the little
It's-
bald guy used to pat him on the head.
I like it when he would see when he would see a pair of breasts and he'd be like,
But breasts are that wonderful, though. I mean, that's a great look for breasts.
"Oh yeah, of course," but you know, you wouldn't be able to get away with that now. Imagine all the SJWs out. You can't have that on TV, and all the
They'd
what
have
is it?
balls.
20th waved feminists would be out there. But yeah, no, it's a. I went out today, into the city, look almost to the city, and it's really good to see that there's a lot of infrastructure spending in my state.
That is good. That's always good.
And even though a trip that usually takes me an hour took me 2.5 hours, I don't care. Just keep building.
Just keep building it. Right.
Yeah. You can just, like, as you go past on the train, you're seeing hundreds of people in jobs that wouldn't be there if they didn't have. And I just think this is what America needs. It's like,
Hey, Ryan, a few years ago, I was hot and heavy with some Aussie woman. I don't even remember her name now.
Shazza.
I was over here and we were chatting via SMS or instant messenger or whatever it was. Like I say, 6-7 years ago.
Yeah.
You gave me the impression that the Australian government pretty much guaranteed everybody over there a job.
No.
It hasn't been that way? No.
They don't have a jobs program. No. They privatized everything pretty much, and everything's contracted out.
So has that been this privatization move? It sounds like something that the Brits or, we as neoliberals here in the United States, the World Bank would push that. Is that something that's just happened, gradually over the last few years, or has it pretty much been neoliberal programs over in Australia for a long time?
No, Australia works. Our political system works differently to the US.
Yeah, you guys are parliamentary.
Yeah,
Get a representation.
Yeah, but I mean, even the way that our government sort of runs things. So we have a conservative government that does exactly what your conservative government does. Funnels money to corporations, funnels money to rich people. That's no different. Okay, they wanted to currently give a $65 billion tax break to the wealthiest corporations in the country that don't even pay tax. They skip all the loophole. They go through every single loophole. 700 of the top 1,500 corporations in Australia last financial year paid buckus. Zero tax.
So give us an idea, though, Ryan, as far as that's concerned. Is it an income tax you guys have got over there?
Yeah, corporation. Yeah, income tax. Yeah, so the corporation tax, I think, is at 28.5%. I think it used to be 30, but I think the Conservatives dropped it down a bit. But then we also have income tax, and then we have GST, which is goods and services tax, and then on top of that we have what is it? It's not income tax. It's
so would your goods and services, would that be the equivalent of our sales tax over here?
So what happened is they wanted to tax everything at 10%, but charities and organizations sort of kicked up a stink and said, well, don't tax everything. So they didn't anything that's a vital thing for life doesn't get GST. So like fresh fruit, meat, vegetables and all that type of stuff. But then ironically, and this is boggled me senseless, they taxed feminine products. So tampons, pads, anything feminine hygiene, they put a GST on and said, oh, they're luxury items.
That's what they do in our state.
Yeah. So,
is that pretty much, Ryan, has that pretty much stopped your dress wearing habits?
Yes. I don't wear pads and tampons anymore.
It can be expensive, I'm telling you.
Yeah, I used to wear tampons as earrings and stuff. But yeah, it just got really
okay.
Guys, he was just talking about Benny Hill.
Hey, I can show you a photo because I used to volunteer for a organization that used to collect tampons and pads for homeless women. So we asked the general public to donate, and then I would go and pick them up from people's houses. And then we would distribute them to homeless people, homeless women, and kids and women in refuges and stuff like that. So they did ask me to do the whole put a tampon hanging from your ears and pads stuck to your face and all that type of stuff as a promotional thing. So there is photos out there of me with pads and tampons stuck.
That's interesting that you would bring that up, Tech Move.
Why is that?
Trying to mock somebody yet.
I was not bringing that up in any kind of mocking sort of way. It's Friday night. It's almost Friday night. What am I saying? I was trying to keep it light, guys. And I've already got the impression from Ryan that he can roll with this silly Tech Move jargon. So.
Yeah, man, I can. While I'm talking, I'll try and bring the photo up and then I'll share it on Facebook. Because literally the women wanted me to take a photo of me because there was this ad that had come out about this guy who put his girlfriend's pads on as armor and was doing karate moves around the apartment. And it really pissed a lot of people off. And she came home with her parents, and here's this dude with pads all over him.
You know, and I'm going to just point it right back to Ryan bringing up a very serious subject about, patriarchy. A lot of our problem here in the United States is we've got this old white male patriarchy that sits in our state houses, that sits in our federal government, and we don't have enough representation. We don't have equal representation, not at all. And the second class citizen status of anybody, we should be looking at each other all as equals. And we're not obviously all equals. We got different brain power, different motivations, Some of us, sit on our ass. Some of us are couch potatoes. Some of us like to wear tampons in our beards. It's just the way things are.
Yeah. There's black people. There's women up there. It's just the rich fucks period anymore.
But most of them,
like you said, patriarch, and it's like I looked at it like it's just rich fucks now.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
it's not a male dominating. There's females that dominate in that crap.
Right, but we're talking about then at that point it has to come in at the point where it's corruption, and that's just evil people. That's just psychopathic, But I was just talking about it in terms of different ways of describing it, because different things fit different people.
But when you talk about patriarchy, white male, then you start talking like those pussy hat wearers.
No, because I think it is though, because you have, if you're looking at it historically with patriarchy as opposed to matriarchy, as opposed to, planets that are ruled or, countries civilizations that are ruled by women. I mean, look what a great job Queen Victoria did in Britain, back in the 19th century. She was an amazing queen. But a lot of her amazingness was probably because she was female. I'm just saying
not every woman is intuitive.
What's that?
Not every woman is too. I mean, we can look up at that White House and we can pretty much.
No, well, yeah, but she's a
enough.
psychopath. I mean, you look at
a lot of women in the White House are.
At that point, because they've been bumping up against that glass ceiling. Yeah, they've been turned into psychopaths.
Well, you're sounding like a pussy howler.
You goddamn right. Sometimes, some days I am.
Stop it, because I don't even agree with their shit.
I'll show you a photo. It's not me with the tampon, so it's just me.
Darn.
We know who you really have a crush on, Rebel. So it's good. It's all good. Your secret's safe with me.
Just let me. Yeah. So, and one of my drop-offs was an Indigenous, out in the country. This Indigenous group, and it was really, really cool.
Okay, so I've got another question for you, Ryan. When you bring up Indigenous, there was this really, at least it was touted over here, and I'm not sure if I've ever had an opportunity to talk to an Aussie about it, but the film was called The Fence.
Yep.
Did you ever see that? I thought that was a pretty good film.
Yeah. Rabbit-proof fence.
Rabbit-proof fence, right?
Yeah, I think if
was that depiction of your Indigenous people, was that accurate?
At that time, yeah, it was very accurate. Very, very accurate. They were treated as part of the fauna. They had just as much rights as a kangaroo. They didn't have. I don't know how I can, I mean, they went through back in the from probably about 1850 to about 1920 in Victoria. There was a systematic annihilation of the Indigenous race in Victoria.
Can you pinpoint it any better?
Well, between 1860 and 1920, in that space.
Okay.
They were nearly the Indigenous people within Victoria were nearly wiped out in that brain.
Okay, yeah. So guys, to put it in perspective, right? Because he just gave us those dates. It's pretty much the same time period that we wiped out our Native Americans here in the U.S. and in America. That was Custer. That was Custer in the 18. That was wounded. That was, when Custer, got wiped out. All that stuff on the plains. All our killing of the buffalo. That all happened in the 1870s. It was pretty much done by 1880. Mm-hmm. And then we segregated all our Native Americans to reservation.
All right. Trail of Tears.
Trail of Tears, exactly. Now all those Indians that were marched from the East Coast to Oklahoma.
Mm-hmm. That's me 2.5 years ago donating. That little bucket was probably about 1/50th of how much I delivered that day to them.
Wow.
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 So, and that's just to them. That's not other groups that I would deliver to. So, yeah.
I'm gonna look all that up.
Yeah. I wish you guys could. I wish you guys could get onto SBS, but you can't because you're in America. There's a really good.
SDS is what, Ryan?
What is that?
Oh, SBS is it's half sponsored by the government. Like it's a half national broadcaster. So we've got ABC,
kind of like BBC.
Yeah, Well, but our ABC, Australian Broadcasting Corp, is like BBC.
There we go.
SBS is a little bit different. They're allowed to advertise and stuff like that, but they have some really good Indigenous stuff on there. I'm just trying to think of the name. Hang on, just let me.
It says SBS TV, SBS Radio, Australians, Australia's SBS online wouldn't be the same.
Yeah. So SBS on demand. So sbs.com.au/.
Oh, there. Okay, got it.
I'm just trying to think of the.
Oh, cool. I got something new.
Oh, they don't have it.
Good. They got some pretty interesting history, I think, in Australia.
Oh, I know.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
Besides having that, I don't know, some of those Aussie swimmers in those swimming suits. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm having a flashback.
But see, the problem is that we still celebrate Australia Day, which is the 26th of January, which to most Indigenous people is Invasion Day. So, and they're still not in the Constitution, which is just mind-blowing how the First Peoples can't even get in the Constitution.
Are they able to vote, Ryan?
Yeah, they got that in 1967. Yeah.
Holy crap, there's a lot of news things on this.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my God. Cool.
There's one thing I wanted to show you. On ABC, abc.net.au.
Bobby news.
There's the Australian take on American politics. And I'm just trying to think what's it called. They basically what they do is they explain American politics to Australians in a way that Australians will understand. But I can't remember what it's called.
So that would be a good way for us, if we were able to catch that feed and whatnot, it would be a good way for Americans to understand your vernacular, the way you guys talk.
Mm-hmm. Can't remember what it's called though.
This is cool. Should I sign up or no?
Yeah.
What's the advantage of it?
If they allow you to watch the TV shows from there, you can.
But you said on demand, Ryan, and to me, when I hear on demand, I think paid service.
No. It's free. It's free. To us, on demand, it's like when you demand to watch the TV shows, not when they put it on TV.
Right. Demand over here means we got to pay.
Yeah, demand over here means the TV corporations, they demand money from us to watch a certain program or movie, TV show.
Yeah.
No, doesn't mean that over here. On demand, it means you can watch it when you want, and you can demand it streamed live to your TV or whatever.
So when we think about these things, and I know Eric is kind of implied it, but I've never really had a conversation or much more of a conversation with Eric about, let's say, demand versus, taking the commercials out, maybe torrenting the stuff, that kind of thing. I'm much more so. To me, information should be free. This paywall stuff that we have, and everybody trying to demand money. It's so ingrained in us. I think if we had a different kind of society and people could actually do what they wanted to do their life's work, we'd cut down on so many problems in our country.
Okay, so I'm going to put in chat. It's called Planet America, the TV show.
Oh, okay.
Okay, cool.
It's run by a comedian and a political analyst / journalist, and they go through, but it's not like comedy, like John Oliver comedy. It makes light of the situation. Like he'll like something that's unbelievable that Americans will do, and he'll go, "It's unbelievable, right? We don't understand that." And it's like everybody's like, "Yeah."
Is it kind of Trump centric right now?
No, sort of, yeah, because Trump's the main target.
Right.
But they talk about Russiagate, and they give us the statistics as well. They don't just talk about it. So they'll tell us how the midterms, how they run, and how they're organized, and why you have midterms. See, we don't have midterms. We just have one election every 3 years. So, and then each state will have an election once every 4 years.
Correct me if I'm wrong too, Ryan, with your elections, isn't that a day off? Isn't that a holiday?
No. It's on a Saturday.
Oh, okay. So it is a weekend though.
Yes.
And
they use the primary schools as polling booths,
which is kind of the way we used to do it here in America. But of course, that changes from state to state.
Yeah, this is national. Every primary school is a polling booth. So, but you have to turn up to your primary school.
So then how do they do, like, do you guys have municipal, like city elections?
Yeah.
That kind of thing?
Local.
But it's all done every 4 years though.
Yeah. Yep.
So everybody's basically on a 4-year term.
Federal election. Federal's 3. Don't ask me why. I've never been able to get an answer why federal's 3 and everything else is 4.
That is interesting.
So, which to me, I would prefer every 3, because I see how you guys go through 4 years and you get to the end of the 3rd and just think, fuck, I've got another year to go.
Yeah, and with our election stretching now to like the election season being what? It's been stretched to like 2.5 years.
They're not allowed to. They've got a time period from when they're allowed to start. So no one's allowed to start championing for, say, the next election's next year. But see, the thing is, our elections can be called at any time. So if like we've only ever had one prime minister who got sacked, and that was in 75, Gough Whitlam. He got sacked by the Governor General, who's the employee who is the Queen's counsel. Mm-hmm. So the Governor General has to go to the Queen. The Queen has to say yes, he can sack him, and then come back and then sack him. And sorry,
Queen. Sorry to interrupt you. When you say Queen, there isn't a Queen in Australia. We're talking about the Queen of England, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So we're talking about Elizabeth. Right.
Yep, Queen Elizabeth. The second. Yep. So she does have representation here, but it's very ceremonial, signing in of politicians and stuff. So we don't have the whole inauguration. All the politicians rock up to Governor House in Canberra, and they all sit at a desk and sign a piece of paper or sign a book, and that's it. When they're voted in, that's it. There's no parades. There's no. It's not a waste of money because that's to us that's a huge waste of money.
But you're an independent country, but you still have the Queen.
We're a part of the Commonwealth.
Commonwealth. Yeah, I was going to say that. Yeah.
Right, Commonwealth. So you guys are similar to what, Ireland or
Northern Ireland? Yeah.
Yeah, Ireland.
Canada.
Canada.
Canada's the same.
New Zealand.
In New Zealand, Jamaica. So it's all that.
Yep. The colonies.
And all those little Caribbean islands and stuff like that are still under the Commonwealth.
And at one time, it even included India.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Sure did. The English would just go in and pillage everything. That's all they did.
South Africa?
South Africa is part of the Commonwealth. But all the British used to do is go in and take everything.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Go.
Sorry.
No, you go.
I was just going to say quickly that we could extend that to other Western European nations like Spain, for example.
France.
Like they basically, when like the Spaniards came to Cuba, they basically wiped them all out, all the Tainos, the Native Americans over there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. France, the Dutch, they all did it.
Yep.
They all did it.
But go ahead, Ryan. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
Installed their version of democracy and basically just made themselves rich. And there was this really good author that was on ABC, this Indian author, and he was saying how the English, all they did was come and take, and just left the country in squalor, and haven't even helped to bring the country back.
But God damn it, they won World War II. We defeated Hitler.
Yeah. India was in World War II as well. India had soldiers there.
India
did
did their part to defeat the Japanese. Yeah.
Yeah, and they were also in North Africa. So
that's interesting. I hadn't thought about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So they a lot of countries that were in World War II don't get enough credit because they weren't the superpowers that laid claim to victory,
So there were Indian fighters in Algeria that fought what? Rommel? They fought Rommel's armies? Wow.
Mm-hmm.
I'll need to look that one up.
Yeah.
I find that interesting. I missed that part. Either that or they were busy fighting Italians.
No, they were in North Africa. I'm huge on World War II because of my grandfather and grandmother lived through World War II. So I've watched every single World War II documentary on Netflix, on YouTube, everywhere. I just soak it up like a sponge. And it's not that I'm a Nazi.
When you talk about those things, because I have that same historical bent, but my bent, of course, is American-centric. So for me to be able to hear that, from another perspective, it's, I don't know, it's great. It's fascinating.
Well, the rumor is in my family is that my grandfather fought the Russians when the Russians invaded the Ukraine in the early 30s, late 20s, early 30s, and caused a famine that wiped out 4.5 million Ukrainians. So, and that wiped out my grandfather's, most of my first grandfather's family, and then World War II wiped out his second family, and then he came out to Australia hiding from the Russians because he was. The rumor is that he was fighting the Russians in the Ukraine when they invaded.
And I think that's something that we don't even have any handle on in the United States, because as soon as you said that, what tricked off in my brain was your family, you in particular, your ancestors hadn't even gotten to Australia yet.
Mm-hmm. No, not that side of the family.
Right.
And when they came out here, my grandfather, who had 10 children all up in that time, three were born in. Two. My auntie and my uncle were born in. They're not concentration camps. They're called displacement camps, and they were all across Europe. And basically, what they were is places for people who were displaced and no longer had a home and no longer wanted to go back to where they originally come from. So my grandfather and grandmother, by the looks of it, I'm not 100% sure, met in a displaced persons camp at the end of the war and stayed in there till 48, and then caught a US frigate called the Hershey out to Australia. Now
it almost makes it the time frame and whatnot, because we are so, in America anyway, so much of the history and whatnot is based around the Jewish migration and what happened to the Jews in World War II. So for you to talk about 48, to me, I was like, dude, man, Ryan, what's your nationality? English? Aussie? No? What is it? Are you a Jew? You're not Jewish, or do you know?
I know.
Heinz 57, like Christian.
I know I'm Ukrainian, because that's what my grandfather was.
So Russian, yeah.
No. Ukrainian, not Russian.
But Ukraine at that time was
an independent country.
It was independent, yeah, it was.
So it was before the sphere of influence. It was before world. Yeah, because that's right. Because Germany, Russia didn't get all those countries until World War II, the end of World War II.
Mm-hmm. So then that's Russia invaded the Ukraine before World War II.
Right.
And then the Germans took it from Russia.
But they didn't get any. Yeah, they didn't get any further than Stalingrad.
Exactly. Yeah. So the German, Hitler was a dickhead, and he froze 3/4 of his army in the Russian.
So possibly then, could your grandfather, maybe his brothers, his uncles, his brother, whatever, could they have been Cossacks?
Yeah.
Would they have been Cossacks?
Could have been.
Yeah.
No, I know my grandfather was buried with his Cossack, his hat, the bear skin.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was buried with that.
Interesting. So did he do that Cossack dance?
They didn't do anything.
You know, I'm talking about that dance that the Cossacks.
Yeah. I know, where they squat down and kick their legs out and stuff.
Yeah.
They forgot about everything in Europe, mate.
Wow, how interesting.
Because if you do anything that resembles what the past used to be, would always bring up bad memories. PTSD, basically.
So have you?
Hey, hold on, Tech, just a sec. So
Sorry,
in
Jay.
regards, sorry, just saying. So in regards to the history of Australia, this is kind of where we were going in our original topics. We were getting into conspiracies and how not to get too far into them. Do you guys, with the history that Australia has, do you have things that you guys are like cults, and do you have societies, secret societies and stuff like that?
We had the Freemasons
Oh,
everywhere.
see, everybody's got that.
Yeah, every little town you go to, you always drive past a building with no windows with the Freemason symbol above the door. It doesn't matter which country town you're in, there's always a building with no windows with a Freemason symbol above the door.
Wow.
My friend, she lives literally down the road from a Freemasons, and apparently it's still alive, that one. So they still have members that rock up and do secret meetings and organize stuff.
Shit.
A lot of cults are in Queensland, where it's just like, I don't know, 85 degrees all the time. And they can go and hide in the jungle, bush, and be left alone.
And do their seances or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Freemasons are quite alive.
So they're everywhere. I mean, they supposedly created the Towers of Babel, and wasn't it just originally just people that, or have they always been known to be satanic? I mean,
I thought they were
the Templars.
Yeah, no, I thought weren't they engineers?
Yeah, originally that's what my grandfather, why he was one for a few years.
That's why my grandfather was one too.
Yeah,
because my grandfather was my dad's dad was the one that came over from World War II, but my mum's dad, he was a boiler maker.
Well, they
welder.
got.
So he would and I know that's what I thought it was. What they would get together and they would champion the government to build things.
Exactly, that's what I thought.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's what my grandfather thought. And when I was younger, he said it just got networkish and weird. That's all I remember him saying and why he left.
It's always been that way. They just used people to get themselves rich.
And I think that's why he left as well too, because he just
secret
didn't like
handshakes.
The secret
hand.
Handshaking.
Stick my thumb up your bum and
it's like
I'm an
a bum train.
I am an SBS member.
Are you? Cool.
Yeah, and
What's
I can watch
SBS. I don't know what that is.
SBS on demand. It's a part of a national broadcaster in Australia.
What does the SBS stand for?
Soccer Before Sex.
Oh.
Nah.
Oh, shut up.
I want to be in that. I want to be in that group.
Back
Where
in
do I
the day,
sign? Where do I sign?
Back in the day, SBS used to be like purely for ethnic Australians to watch soccer, whether it be European Cup, Premier League, all that type of stuff. Because we've got a huge Greek Italian migration that happened in the 40s, 50s, and 60s. So yeah, that's what SBS used to be. It was just
I am gonna love new shit to read. Do you see that, James?
No, what?
I posted it in the chat.
The SBS. Oh, thanks. Yeah. So what's interesting is Tech's talking about all this stuff that that you guys go through that are similar to us, but it's like these societies are everywhere, right? Dictating and conjuring and orchestrating and creating and finagling things in their direction. I don't know if they originally started, the Masons originally. I don't know if they originally started as a cult, or like a serious, like an evil pentagram cult. But did they evolve into that, or were they? I thought they were just
always like that, and then they used the slaves to build their things and get them rich.
You know what? I got a book I could read that my grandfather passed down to me from his Mason. It's a little book, but you
Have you
have
got
to.
it there? Can you show us?
Yeah, I'm going to show you. Just give me a second.
Yeah. No, the reason I said that was because my problem with all the conspiracy stuff now, especially with all the crazy fake news, alt news, all the stuff, is people are down their own rabbit holes. And we're all disjointed and fragmented, and we are all over the place. So it's like when we start talking about cultism and stuff, it makes it even worse. We're talking about Pizzagate, and if we can't verify any of this stuff, and we're all off on our own little rabbit holes, if there's no solidarity in bringing ourselves together, what's our common cause? What are our common beliefs? What do we stand for?
I had
I mean,
questions like
We're going to fail for all that other shit.
I mean, Australian governments have their own propaganda when it comes to getting shit done. I mean, like the latest thing was we've had an increase in Sudanese violence in Victoria. So this guy's a fucking dickhead. Like, there's nothing more. His name's Peter Dutton, and he's been given like the most power out of all politicians to run all three agencies. So basically, our CIA, FBI, and immigration. And he's turned around and he's made it an emphasis that how the Sudanese crime wave is out of control, and it makes up the Sudanese crime makes up 1.4% of the crime that's happened in the state in the last year. So I got on and I said, and he was saying how Victorians were fearing going out to restaurants and stuff like that because they felt like we felt like we were going to be targeted. And then I basically said, I said to him on his Facebook page, you know what, Peter? I felt scared when I went out to Subway the other day because I didn't know how much it was going to cost me. And it got like 2,500 likes.
Nice.
It's just...
That's crazy.
So that's your equivalent. I don't know, you guys might have a different...
King Solomon and his followers. I see King Solomon and think I can't read that shit.
Yeah, but...
That's the Old Testament. Yeah, it sounds like Old Testament.
But then it says right here, this is copywritten in 2010. Hold on.
Was that when it was published? Yeah.
Yeah, published in 1910.
Oh, 1910.
Not 2010, 1910.
Thank you.
Yeah, I know. But yeah, look, stand freaking machine.
So do you have,
you
guys call it the same thing, Ryan, when you were just describing talking to this guy Dutton?
Yeah, Peter Dutton.
Right. You call that speaking truth to power, or you guys have another phrase for it over there in Aussie land or in Oz?
We say he's talking shit.
Yeah.
He's just talking shit, and it's not correct. He's a shit talker.
This is so bad.
Yeah, but I think Tech was talking about what you did, Ryan. Like, we have the phrase
it
here.
It says
like,
ceremonies.
Power.
Got it.
Mm-hmm.
Did you catch what Christian was saying, Ryan? He's giving you what I meant.
Which was?
Tech was asking you, like, what you did, which what we refer to as speaking truth to power, not what
Dutton's doing to your
Dutton. Yeah, Dutton. Thank you, Tech.
No,
we say talking too here, like, or bullshitting. Is another one that we say here.
Yeah, no, we don't use truth to power or anything like that. We just, yeah, we kick his ass. I know that's the only thing. You just kick his ass.
Just kick his ass, all right?
Works for me.
Can you see the writing? It's some weird code,
Mm-hmm.
but they're able to read it. He was able to just read this like regularly. I can barely.
Wow.
You should
So
take a
he's
picture,
trained in
Craig.
their code.
Yeah, there's a certain code that they use,
Uh-huh.
and it's.
Take a picture of that, James, and send it in the
You know, I'm gonna do that.
on Twitter or something. Yeah,
Imagine how many hours men spent reading that thing.
He has to memorize this whole book, and in
Yeah.
order to get initiated, he had to read the whole book and know it verbatim.
Because they have like fancy uniforms and all that type of stuff too, don't they?
Gowns and
But again, guys, how different is that than learning the Pledge of Allegiance?
yeah.
Or
Which we don't have.
when I was in Scouts, you know, when I was in Cub Scouts, when I was in Boy Scouts, I was learning the, you know, the commandments of Scouts. You know, the trusty, loyal, thrifty, kind, clean, reverent. I mean, you know, it's propaganda. You know, it's it's brown shirt German. You know,
Yep.
it
brainwashing.
is what it is. But that's organization. You know, that's people giving themselves and others, you know, like common ground.
Yeah, I mean, over here we don't have anything like a Pledge of Allegiance. We just play our national anthem and that's it. But our national anthem doesn't make any sense anyway.
Do you guys sing the words to the national anthem?
Oh yeah, yeah. So at least yours taking a battle, you know, against the English.
Yeah.
Ours is made up by some kooky fruitcake that put in words that nobody knows.
And this person actually ate fruitcake?
Don't know, but he is one.
Have you ever eaten fruitcake?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Fucking
Yeah.
I'm a
disgusting.
qualified chef.
Oh, is that your occupation? I should have known.
No, I used to be. I am a. I do have my qualifications, but I don't cook anymore. I work in mental health now. Mental health is my passion. Because I'm sick and tired of people getting treated like shit. People being put in hospital for no reason. Being medicated for no reason.
Ryan, do you have anything like we have over here, opioid crisis?
Oh fuck yeah, dude! I went into the city, like closer city. It's a suburb called Paran, and it's a like a melting pot of different economics, socio-economic groups, because there they have 3 massive towers of government housing. But this area, the land is very, very expensive. I'm talking millions of dollars to buy there. And it's just everywhere. You can see the people who are on drugs. It's horrible. They're just laid out. They're just laid out in the street.
What are the drugs of
ice?
Use the vernacular over here. What are the drugs of choice over there?
Ice.
Ice.
Crystal meth.
Right.
That's everywhere, man.
Mm-hmm. And they still think marijuana is the gateway drug.
That's such a fucking joke.
Yeah, that's why I can put it down and not smoke it for a week, 2 weeks, then smoke it 2 nights in a row just to sleep, and then put it down again.
I said to someone who was vehemently against marijuana legalization today, and I said, "Do you drink coffee?" And they said yes. And I said, "How often do you drink coffee?" And they say, "Oh, I have about 3 or 4 a day." And I said, "Oh, so you've got caffeine addiction?" Like this. And they looked at me. I said, "Caffeine's the gateway drug." And they looked at me and I said, well, let's step a few gates back from marijuana. What do kids try first? Oh, holy shit, look at that.
Cigarettes.
Everything looks like that in the entire book.
Mm-hmm.
But all this means something. I have no idea. I bet you there's a way to decipher this somewhere on the internet that you could easily. There's a ledger or something you can reference or.
Oh yeah, I'm sure somebody leaked the.
Yeah, how to read the fucking Masonic cookbook, you know, something like that.
And the very last 3 pages is how to cook crystal meth.
how to cook a child. What the right?
Oh god.
So I went back to this woman and I said, well, kids start off drinking coffee first.
Right. Is that what they said? What?
I go, what? I said, yeah, caffeine's a drug. Look it up. And I said, then they either one move on to alcohol in their mid teens, and or smoking, which is tobacco. So there's your next gateway drug, and then from drinking, it's marijuana. So there's who you think is your original gateway drug, and then now you're thinking people who use marijuana will automatically step up onto crystal meth and heroin and stuff. And I said, how about most of the people who get addicted to heroin are the ones who have been prescribed Oxycontin and fentanyl, and then gain an addiction, and then the doctor cuts them off, and then they need their fix. I said, that's where the problem is. We need to ban We need to ban Oxycontin. We need to ban fentanyl.
Oh, the pharmaceutical companies, they don't make this shit for nothing. They know it's going somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
And it's pharma. It is the big pharma. It's the pill popping junkie industry. I like to fucking call it.
Right. Yeah. Well, white sugar. White sugar is another one. I think white sugar is 5 to 6 times more addicting than cocaine.
Mm-hmm. I got addicted to sugar.
Yeah, no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
I got heavily addicted to sugar when I was younger. Pardon me. I would literally eat sugar raw.
Oh my god!
Holy shit!
Like I'd just go in there
and sugar in all its forms, Christian. Because I'm thinking, because we've got so many people over here, because we were talking type 1, type 2 diabetes with Stork the other night. It's high fructose corn syrup over here. That's our version.
I like to call it diabetes corn syrup. I like to call something for what it is.
Yeah,
it's sugar here. It's literally sugar here because in the northern parts of Queensland is just sugar cane territory, and I mean large sugar cane plantations. And
so, who's working those plantations, Ryan?
Immigrants.
You got slaves? You got slaves over there?
Immigrants, slaves, same thing.
What nationality are they?
Mostly from Asia.
Wow. See, that's.
But we also have this thing where you can, if you're a backpacker, you can, if you go and spend, I think it's something like 88 days at a farm working, you get to stay longer. So a lot of backpackers go and work in these farms. Some of them die too. It's not like there's been knowns of backpacker deaths at these farms.
So what's the advantage for these people? How is it sold to them?
Well, if they go and do these 88 days, then they get to stay in Australia longer.
So it's like a
on their visa
extension.
On their visa extension, yeah.
Yeah. How interesting! Wow.
Yeah. So a lot of them go and do this work, and yeah.
I'd heard of. I mentioned that Aussie gal that I was SMSing years ago, a little bit ago, and I was also at about the same time. I was also talking to a bunch of different women in the Philippines, and I heard about a lot of their experiences with the Filipino women going to various places because there at that time, at least in and around, was it? I can't even think of the. What's the name of the capital in the Philippines?
Manila.
Yeah, yeah, that one.
Manila.
Manila. Thank you. There weren't jobs. They didn't have any jobs, and so the Filipino government, the Philippines, in order to get their people working, they would ship them to all these different places. They'd ship them to Singapore. They'd ship them to China and whatnot. The gal that I befriended, she ended up working as a nurse in Saudi Arabia, in the Emirates, in those places. And the stories that she had for me, and she would just cry to me at night about missing her daughter because her daughter would be back there in the Philippines and she's off somewhere in the Emirates or wherever in Saudi Arabia, working. It was just crazed.
See, the thing is, there's a big sex trafficking thing here in Australia, and a lot of Asian women get caught up in it. The whole Taiwanese massage type thing,
right,
with extra benefits.
Yeah,
a lot of that, and it's disgusting. So, and they just come over here and people treat them like shit. Because what are they going to do? Complain? I don't know. It's just nothing for them.
What's their life? Yeah, what's their old life like compared to a sex trafficking life?
Exactly.
I put it very bluntly. Sorry.
Exactly. And it's horrible stories. Horrible stories of men beating the shit out of them and all this other type of stuff. And it's just, how could we live in one of the most richest countries in the face of the planet and still treat women like that? You don't even need to be the richest country on the face of the planet to treat women properly, but it just makes me sick.
It's everywhere, dude. It's not just, it's...
Well, it's reflective, though, Ryan, of who you are. And when I hear you talking like that, I'm encouraged. Because I heard you, because I saw you make a comment to somebody in chat the other night, and I wondered about it. And now that I've heard you, wax poetic a little more tonight, now I'm beginning to understand why.
Why? What did I say?
No, it was just telling somebody that you were in love with their mind. And of course, I always like that because I think that's probably the most attractive muscle that I find in most people. I enjoy having a good conversation. I like, comparing notes. I like to see how fast they are. I like to see, how wide and what kind of knowledge they have. I'm always up for a good conversation, always up for a good argument.
I think I was talking to Jenny Lynn about that.
Yes, it was her.
Yeah.
But Ron, given your expertise, what percentage of our U.S. politicians would you say are insane?
100%.
No. No.
Because we call them psychopaths and we call them sociopaths. I think that is
Narcissists.
accurate, though, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
But
It
again,
was.
yeah. What's the percentage of the? I mean, we're asking the guy like if he's an FBI profiler. I mean,
No, I would have to say a good majority of the Republicans are pretty fucked.
What? Oh, shit.
There are elements of some Democrats that I really like, and there are some elements of those same Democrats that I really don't like. I don't like how Bernie Sanders is lining himself up with the Democrats. I mean, how many times you got to get bit by a snake before you turn around and stop trying to pat a snake?
Good point.
exactly.
And then there's Tulsi Gabbard. I like her. She's pretty cool. She seems pretty level-headed.
I've heard recently, though, and I don't mean to interrupt you, Ryan. I was just going to interrupt this because you mentioned Ms. Gabbard, that she has been kind of touting the Russiagate thing.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes me wonder if her and Bernie don't have the same marching orders.
Mm-hmm. I reckon they do.
That really makes me question whether she's paying enough attention, because she's sharp.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, she's got to be knowing that a lot of us here, at least on the far left, the socialist left, in the United States, are calling for her to maybe run in 2020.
Mm-hmm.
So for her to be touting Russiagate, man, that's like, what the hell?
It's her circle. She hangs in the circle of the Dems. She's still a Democrat.
Mm-hmm.
She can't. She's only getting. It's not that I don't think she's completely out of touch, but she's only taking what they're giving her and she's accepting what they're giving her. I don't think she's listening to our show. That's all I'm saying.
Jim, I'm saying that we got to get to her then. We do.
We got somebody's got to fucking tell her, dude.
Do we have any contacts? Do we know anybody? You've got Hawaiian contacts, James. Come on.
You know what? I do.
You do?
Yeah. I got some big players. When I was a kid, I used to hang out at Don Ho's house, and
you've talked to us about singing with Don.
Yeah, my dad used to play with him and sing with him, and then all I did was just watch, but I didn't sing with Don Ho. No.
You didn't sing Tiny Bubbles?
I can do that.
Ryan, I think Ryan was going to say something. What were we going to say, brother?
Yeah, I think she's like on the outer fringes of the Democratic Party. And like James said, she gets fed the information that they want to give her.
Yeah.
She doesn't get all the information.
I think she's kept in the dark.
Don't it's the old story, guys, right? It's the old story about the emperor has no clothes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
If she's calling, the kettle black in so many ways, and yet doesn't have around her some circle of advisors and whatnot. That are keeping her shit straight, that are saying, you need to go on James's show, Tulsi, and listen to some of these people, because they've got their fingers on the pulse too. And they're not going to necessarily let you go, run off the tracks, jump into the weeds, on such a superfluous thing that has yet to be proven, Russiagate.
There's nothing there, though.
There isn't anything there.
If there was something there, they would have found it by now.
Exactly.
The key word you says, Tech, is advisors. Her advisors and people that it's like, here's a good example. Michael Jackson. His advisors, they gave him great information all the time, right? No. They fucking killed that guy. What happened was Michael Jackson was surrounded by all his yes people, and he would say, "Hey, do you think this is cool if I stick this needle in my eye? Oh, you look awesome. Go for it, bro." Right?
What are you saying, James? That Elvis didn't have a nutrition?
No, he didn't have a nutritionist. I know that. Is that what he said?
So, I mean, I don't want to say it, but I just get this really strange feeling that Hillary is going to come out of the woodworks. I just get this feeling that she's not completely gone.
Oh, that's like a
flag.
No, like a hovering, like a vulture, just hovering, waiting for things to die, to come in for
Flag.
the kill.
Or like a persistent STI or STD as well.
A persistent STD. That's
Flag
there's a good analogy right there.
Plague would be the best term to describe Hillary Clinton. She's a plague. She is a corporate plague.
A corporate gonorrhea.
Yeah, she's like a dump that won't come out.
You don't want her to come out. That's the thing.
You don't want her to come out, but it's fucking painful to keep her there, though.
Kill the host. Just kill the host.
Yeah. I mean, Keith Ellison is just Keith Ellison playing to the bass. And then putting up that fucking Joe Kennedy III. What were they fucking thinking?
They weren't thinking.
It's like, yeah, let's get another Kennedy up there.
Right.
Like, people are tired of that shit. Sorry, Snocko.
The Kennedys are kind of like a dynasty here, like royalty for you guys.
Mm-hmm.
So, like, you have His Highness. I guess we'll just have to call him His Drooliness.
Oh shit!
Really should have cleaned up that cum stain. Sorry.
I don't want to be. I don't want to be too rude, vulgar. But the Kennedys are kind of like the Jews, in the sense that, and I've been seeing some of this stuff on Twitter, where they're saying, well, why do the Kennedys, why are they still in social service? Why are they still in politics? I mean, they had JFK get shot. They had Bobby get shot. They're kind of like the Jews, so they've got this whole, they're rich, yeah, but we've got this whole pathos around them, being killed and having, suffered through and survived the ultimate sacrifice, and yet they're still involved in politics.
Because politics is easy money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You turn up and you vote, and then you go back to your base and then sit with a thumb up your ass until you have to come back to Congress and vote again.
It's definitely white collar, Ryan.
Yeah, I mean, there's no sort of like consequences other than getting voted out. That if they do something wrong, like I think if politicians say they're going to do one thing and then they do another, it automatically by default ignites a snap election. So if say Donald Trump says, "Oh, I'm going to build the wall and I'm going to make Mexico pay for it," well, he's just asked Congress for the money. Bang, snap election, because he didn't keep his promise.
We could have nailed him already on Carrier.
Exactly.
With the Carrier jobs.
Exactly. And then all the bullshit about black unemployment and no, that bullshit. That's just fucking crap.
Well, politicians, congressmen, senators, they have access to the intelligence collection agencies. And the CIA is the best business analysis agency in the world. That's their main business. They have a website here in the United States that citizens can use called the CIA database, or CIA fact base. And, it has business things in if you want it. So having their hands on that data means a lot for their businesses.
Mm. See, what can happen in Australia is that we can have an election on a particular subject. So, say we wanted to get rid of Citizens United, and it wasn't 100% sure whether or not Parliament would pass it, but they can call it a snap election, and then the political parties take their side of whether or not they want to keep it or not, and then people get to vote on it. And then if the people who want to get rid of it got in, then that would be like their first legislation change would be to get rid of Citizens United. That's how it works here. So you can call a snap election on anything. So you have referendums as well. Referendums are just a vote. Like in 2000, we took a vote to see if we want to cut ties from England, and that didn't happen. So we stayed with it.
So how does that run? Do you guys continually see polls and things?
Yeah.
Does that turn around and around and around?
Yeah, we have polls just like you guys.
Scottish independence movement, the Brexit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly the same.
Yeah.
You have those who are spruiking to get rid of the monarchy, and then you've got those who want to keep. Sorry, the dog's doing this time. Hang on, can you stop a sec?
Dead air, James.
Yeah, I'm talking to Snork.
Oh.
Well, I think I'm talking to Snork. Snork, do you understand any of this? Because you sent me a cipher.
Yeah, I didn't bother to translate any of it.
But do you think you would be able to send me to a place that would? Can you see the screen?
Yeah, I can see it. Sure. Let me get my hands back here, and I will.
Well, I mean, if you think you can find out no way to decipher it, that'd be cool. I'd like to, or just find a link or something like that.
Yeah, that link I sent you, you could type it in there, and it'll translate it for you.
Ah, there you go.
So Snork, you do crypto? Were you ex crypto? You know what I mean, right? That's military.
I wasn't in the military.
Right. But you've just, because of interest in mathematics or whatnot, you can look at some of that stuff and puzzles and stuff like that, code breaking methods. Direct him.
Oh, I wouldn't be using any proprietary. Like I said, no government crypto experience.
Right. Okay. I'm listening to somebody type. That's good.
That's good. Yeah, sorry, there's dead time there, Tech.
Yeah,
you had the conversation
good,
going.
I'm just saying it in terms of, because I don't mind dead time, guys, because it gives me a chance to think. But
right. Okay, so yeah, we don't have to point out the obvious. This is not a scripted show. If anybody's watching, sometimes we are doing other things, and if somebody has a conversation with somebody else, and if they're interested, they will talk, and then others are on. We have a total of 7 people on right now. So if there is dead time, it does happen, and we apologize to the many viewers that view now for that dead time or that cone of silence.
Yeah, and while we're thinking of something to say, remember, this is Monotalk with James.
And remember to subscribe and share. Right? Fuck.
Like, subscribe, and share.
Like, subscribe, and share. That's what everybody says. I'm just like,
With
I think I always forget to say that.
With a little bit of Benny Hill music, just for good measure.
There you go.
You get slammed with a copyright infringement.
That's all right. I like that. I used to watch Benny Hill all the time. And I know Tech did too. He watched that and Monty Python. I know you're a Monty Python fan, Tech. Are you? Okay, he's not. He's doing dead air time.
Sorry, guys. I should have muted. I was over grabbing my food out of the oven.
Grabbing his
Nice.
pee-pee.
But yes, indeed, Python. I'm a big Python
Big
fan.
Python fan, dude. Forever. There's a penguin on the telly. It's not actually on the telly. I used to watch that constantly.
I like my Monty Python. I like the silly stuff.
The Holy Grail was the greatest. It's just a flesh wound.
Yeah.
Was,
Cuts both of his arms off.
Cuts his arms off and his
Who can't
legs.
get off on severed limbs? Come on, we
All
all
his
get off.
Come on. Come on. Is that all you got?
You know, there was, as I was running through the stuff that in Donald Trump's State of the Union address, there's one thing that I forgot to mention. Him clapping himself.
His what?
Him clapping himself.
What does that mean? Clapping?
He's applauding himself.
I know. That's why if you watch if you watch the show, my monologue, I start with that exact thing. As I'm going like this, I'm going just this. This is all that's all you get out of it. Just a bunch of clap. Like everybody's got the clap, but he clapped at himself. I don't think I've ever seen in the history of a presidential State of the Union where the president actually claps himself.
That's because, James, my speech was so tremendous, so enormously awesome, so bigly, so huge, that I just had to clap for myself. I couldn't help it. It was instinctual. It was a reflex. I couldn't help it.
Trump, you messed up.
Not sorry.
You said huge, Trump. You said huge.
Oh, sorry, wrong hand. I'm not left-handed. I'm right-handed.
Right-handed.
Huge. Huge. Okay. Tremendous.
Huge.
I've been seeing some clips the last couple of days with the analysis of one that's been coming out, and it just seemed like he was slowed down. I was watching some of Trump's mannerisms and whatnot, and they were it was like he was, I don't know, did they give him something? Did they feed him a bunch of fast food before he went on?
No, they gave him they gave him a fucking crosstop Valium, if you know what that is, a crosstop.
Okay.
I think you know what that is, Tech.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he was
really slow in his mannerisms.
Yeah, and I said the other night when everybody was on, I said, you can read the State of the Union address because it's on the White House website and all this other shit, right? It's kind of posted everywhere, and it's just a few paragraphs, and it was like, this guy, and we're going to do this, and just like he was fucking drunk or something.
Completely.
Yeah.
Or dyslexic.
Did you notice he only turned his head to one side? Like, he never really saw his left ear.
Yeah.
Because they were probably feeding him the words.
Yeah, exactly. He was being fed the words. Come on, he was under communication.
It didn't matter where he was looking. It would be like he'd be face on, and then he'd go,
That's probably, I guarantee.
Or are we seeing?
And everybody who he was talking about, so the parents of the two daughters, the soldiers, and the kid that did all the flags and stuff, they were all to his left.
Yeah,
That's
to his
true.
left.
Mm-hmm.
So are we seeing maybe Trump with stroke symptoms?
The whole.
Maybe.
Well, that is different. I think when that happens, you're kind of losing your left side of your face or right side of your numbness.
Yeah.
But it
Well,
was
let me just
similar,
straighten you out
though.
right
It
here,
was
right now. Okay, excuse me. Hold on. Excuse me. Speaking. It's because my left side is my good side. Okay. I don't let anybody see my right. I don't let anybody photograph me from my right side. Okay.
okay, apprentice.
Huge
Okay,
difference.
apprentice
Okay,
man.
apprentice.
Okay, apprentice man. I got you.
Yeah. Who knows?
I just don't get it. I just don't.
I just thought the other night it was just typically American of us to have to rely on a foreigner to give us our analysis of Trump. Because you summed up so many of those things, Ryan, just exactly right. I was very impressed with your list.
The one
You did a
thing.
good job with it.
Cheers. Thank you. The one thing that hang on, I'll have to go through my notes. Yeah, there was only one thing that I liked out of the whole speech.
Seemed like it. Yeah.
And that was the prisoners being reintegrated into the community for jobs and stuff like that. Like people with criminal records.
But with everything else that he's doing, he's feeding the private industrial prison complex.
Hugely.
That is one of their, and I don't know what their returns are, because I'm hearing, these guys are so interested in their rate of return, so they want the biggest percentage. They want their money to make the most money, obviously, that it can make. And whether that's as big a growth industry as it has been, if we start to see even more manic Trump like he was in the first, 4 or 5 months of last year, we could very much see FEMA camps and, activists and whatnot being put away. The only other point that I wanted to make real quick on this was there was a guy that wrote a Slate article, and I don't have it up in front of me, but he was actually saying there was one phrase, one quote that Trump made that at least made him think that Trump and his people, his handlers and whatnot, that ilk, that they wanted to get rid of the rule of law. That was what their motivation was. That if they can get rid of the rule of law, you guys know where I'm going with on this? If I say getting rid of the rule of law, what the Slate article was talking about was if they can discredit the courts and if they can discredit the FBI, if they get rid of...
It's like a national...
right. It's one step closer to totalitarianism.
Yes.
Totalitarianism, yeah.
Yeah.
That's what popped in my head, yeah.
And I'm thinking to myself, boy, because the quote, it wasn't completely obvious. It seemed like the Slate writer was reading into it, but I thought I'd bring it up because if that is indeed what they're going for, man, we're all going to be in FEMA camps sooner than later.
And they're everywhere.
And they are everywhere.
I guess there was one good thing that I saw was that Cory Booker left as soon as Trump finished. There wasn't he wasn't waiting around like all the other Democrats. He was straight out the door as soon as Trump finished talking. But they said that he never clapped at any of Trump's stuff. But I'm pretty sure I saw him clap during the speech.
Who was that, Ryan?
Cory Booker.
Oh, Booker.
Yeah. So I'm going to go back and see if I can see him clapping because I never saw Keith Ellison and his scarf wearing cohort.
Christian, did you have eyes on Booker the other night?
I saw
Don't
a
you
little
keep
bit.
tabs on him?
Yeah, I saw a little bit of the State of the Union. I saw.
Didn't you guys meet for drinks afterwards?
No, I don't drink. I'm a straight edge brother. But
same here.
So he didn't come to your restaurant after the SOTU?
No. No, but what I did catch was Booker just like kind of giving Trump a bit of a leer, like he was saying like that. But I didn't see him clap, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did.
I'm pretty sure I saw him clap once. And then there's fucking
maybe on the
Nancy
Jerusalem
Pelosi.
thing. That's what I would maybe suspect, or something.
So what are you thinking about his motivation, Ryan? Booker's motivation?
I still think he's a little bit upset about the comment that Trump made about what is it? Shit. I never remember what he said.
Shithole nations.
Shithole nations. I still think he's a little bit upset about that.
Yeah, he got a little dramatic.
Of all the things that Trump's done, he's getting upset at a few names. He's getting upset at a name.
And
it's posturing, posing.
Complete posturing and complete posing. But at that point, it makes me think about what Cory Booker's actual background is and whatnot. You know, obviously and I don't know enough about him yet. I mean, I know Cory Booker pretty much for one and only one big snafu in the last year and a half, and that was his vote on prescription drugs. So what else? I mean, Christian, is he as bad as they make him out to be?
It's all about Wall Street.
I think so. I mean, like what you just brought up is probably the biggest thing that shined a huge light on him when Bernie proposed that bill to import cheaper drugs from Canada, and he voted no.
Yeah.
And he gave like a biggest bullshit excuse on it. Yeah, it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hearing you.
Yeah.
He's he's like a Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, he's kind of like a younger Chuck Schumer.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Chuck Schumer.
And Chuck Schumer was looking a bit proud of himself too, State of the Union.
Right.
Looking a little bit too proud of himself.
Well, it came out really quickly. You know, the redhead the other night, Mr. Cumface, with his $45 million or whatever his worth is. I just don't have that same information about Cory Booker. You know, and I damn well know he's as neocon, as neoliberal as we all don't like. But on the other hand, the guy's got to have some redeeming qualities, no?
He's being paid off by all the same people.
He's the corporate hooker.
Eric. Yeah.
You know, Big Pharma was obviously
Cory Booker, the corporate hooker.
Yep. Big Pharma was obviously up his ass when he voted no on the Canadian importation bill to import cheaper drugs from Canada.
Yep.
And pretty much everything else, fossil fuel industry and whatnot. Also wanted to say too, now that we mentioned Chuck Schumer, doesn't Chuck Schumer look like the perfect guy to cast in as a super villain? Like, doesn't he look like the perfect person to play like the Green Goblin in like a Spider-Man movie or something
Got
like
that sort of pointy face
Right.
too. You know, he's got that long jaw, pointy nose, and pointy chin.
And then Ted Cruz could totally play the Penguin in a Batman movie.
Oh yeah, definitely.
Who?
But with
Ted Cruz.
Oh, he would be the perfect Penguin, dude.
But Schumer, you would think, would have somebody again saying, "Hey, Chuck, you know the way Jimmy Dore lambasts Schumer, the way he wears glasses and whatnot, just crazy."
I don't believe that. I reckon he's worth more.
Yeah, he might be worth more. Yeah.
They should call him Cory Booker, the corporate hooker, right on that website.
Yeah. So what people don't know is their Cayman Island accounts, there's South African accounts,
Switzerland
accounts, there's Thailand, and they're everywhere. And you can hide money in some Bahamas. You can hide money anywhere, man. So go ahead.
Sorry, go James.
No,
you
I'm
go.
good. I'm done. It's just you can hide it anywhere.
We had the Panama Papers come out, and our Prime Minister is in those papers.
Yep. Bono was in those papers as well.
Our Prime Minister is an ex-Goldman Sachs banker.
My governor in New Jersey is an ex-Goldman Sachs banker.
Yeah, the Prime Minister here, he's
we dodged that bullet here.
Million.
Goldman Sachs sucks ball sack.
Go ahead, Ryan.
Our Prime Minister's worth $250 million.
Oh, that's important. Then he's totally in touch with everybody.
Yeah.
Okay, so riddle me this, guys. So we got
riddle me this.
Ryan's prime minister at $250 million. We dodged that bullet in 2012. I don't really want to talk about Obama. I think we pretty much trashed Obama.
Yeah.
But
bummer.
Romney, what's Romney's net worth?
Oh,
because we dodged him in 2012.
We may have dodged him in 2012, but that might be coming back.
He might be coming back for sure.
And that's what I was thinking. Yeah, he might be coming back.
The Republicans would gladly take Romney over Trump.
The
majority of them.
I reckon they take Romney over Ted Cruz as well.
Well, I think too they had, and I have little or no Fox background on this at all, but wasn't Jeb Bush a lot like Romney? Wasn't he touted that way?
Kind of, I think, yeah. I think the comparison was made.
As a more moderate Republican?
Yeah. He was.
You reckon?
Yeah.
You reckon?
Yeah. At least that's the way I interpreted it.
Jeb Bush doesn't even have a spine.
Yeah, that was pretty apparent.
Turned out.
It's that funny one where he's giving a speech and the organizer comes up and takes the microphone from him, and then he goes, "Please clap." It's just like, dude, if you have to ask for claps, then...
Okay, so let me get this real, because I'm going to make this analogy, guys, because back in the 60s, it was pretty obvious who the top Kennedy brother was. But is George the older brother? So George is older, right? So basically, it's like Jeb Bush is like the equivalent of Eddie Kennedy, who was the baby in the Kennedy family, and they were both basically considered, the runts, because you can't even compare Edward Kennedy, Ted Kennedy, to JFK, as far as thinking, status, capability. I can't think, as dumb as George Bush was, as dumb as W was, but I think of it in those terms, dumb little brother, older brother, that kind of stuff. And
don't forget,
that's limiting, of course.
Neil Bush.
There's another one?
Yeah, there's another one.
Shit.
And you have Billy Bush, the cousin.
Yeah, but, he will never get into politics after his thing with George
Billy
W.
Carter.
With Trump grabbing women by the pussy. Well, I guess there's nothing stopping him, considering the guy who would grab them by the pussy got president.
Neil Bush was more of the leg man. He was out doing things.
So he was actually getting some tail snort.
Imagine,
no, I mean, he was making the deals.
Oh, so he was the bag man.
Yeah, well, yeah, he's more active than that. He'd be the leg man.
Leg man, leg and bag.
Imagine Joe Biden.
I don't want to.
No, I know you don't want. Nobody wants to. But imagine him just like mauling people left and right.
But I think about that constantly, though, because I'm always barraged with pictures of that guy.
I know.
And I'm always thinking, you fucking dirty old man.
Well, it's the thing about him is it's not like there's one that they use all the time. It's one like every other month there's one.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
yeah.
It's like, dude, you're not getting this? People need their like personal space, especially young children.
And he's in everybody's face.
He's like this. He's like, it's fucking weird. Ugh. Yeah. He's out of he's whacked up.
Like what Eric is doing with his camera right now.
I know.
He's leaning in.
It's like this. Hey guys, just want to let you know, we're gonna be doing. I mean, if we all did this for the night, right? Hey, what's up, man? What's going on, guys? Let's go ahead and just keep this going. I think we're gonna have a good show tonight. You know, just
James.
If that was like the norm, right?
James, you might want to shave, man.
Oh yeah, I'm all scruffy, dude. When this thing is dry, I can light a match on it from.
There we go. Yeah. Hey, Christian, your nose actually looked pretty clean, man.
Thank you, man. The black hole.
What if this was the norm, though?
If that was the norm, what would this be like if that was?
That would be terrible. That'd be terrible.
Oh my god.
Maybe I should have, like, if I'm not available, maybe I should have something in the background for everybody to whatever.
Yeah.
Like
there we go, Ryan. Give us a close up, Ryan. We want to see your haircut.
That is high and tight right there, brother.
That's nice though. And notice that Ryan said the real deal for guys, which is barber.
Barber.
Mm-hmm.
What is the thing about women and getting a $50 to $100 haircut? What's the deal with that?
I'm not going to tell you how much mine costs today.
Mine's $7.
I do mine for free.
Don't. You have to tell us now.
Yeah, but James, I mean, you got a Filipino cutting your hair, James.
No, I don't even do anything to it. It's pretty basic. Nothing really happens. What's up, Chad?
Hey, Chad.
Chad.
I just wake up like this. Just like this. Nothing happens.
I'm a person who cuts their own hair.
Cost me $75.
Fucking A, bro. Blimey.
Wow.
Jeez Louise, man.
You guys got a nice minimum wage over there.
I know. Well, anyway, it was well worth it. It was well worth that. That is one hell of a haircut.
Well, she was hot, and she kept pressing her breasts up against me, and it's just like
little happy ending there. Little happily.
No, little happy.
Did you guys exchange business cards, right?
No.
If that's the way they're cutting hair over in Australia, see you guys later. I'm fucking going to Australia.
No, you just go to the little Taiwanese massage parlor, unfortunately.
We got a bunch of those everywhere. I hear the stories all the time. Bro, you got to go to this place, man. They get the best happy endings ever.
I'm just... No, thanks.
So, guys, really...
Yep, done. One and done.
I'm going to be trying to bring some women back into this, man. We got a sausage fest going all the time.
I know. Well, we're talking. I mean, we're not. We're talking about. I don't know. I guess we're just not talking about the right things. Things that affect women.
In the chat. There's some women in the chat.
Right.
Well, there's some great women in the chat. Thank you very much.
Great women in the chat.
Fantastic women.
I got no problem with that, and I'm all about where you want to be, where you want to talk.
Yeah.
But we need women faces here. You know, if we have people come on and we're predominantly,
I've got a wig.
You know,
I've got a wig. I can put a wig on.
you know, if we want to wear our dresses, you know, maybe once in a while, that would be okay. But I'm just
I think
saying.
No, my thong is getting a little tight, dude.
I think the beard will be a giveaway. What do you reckon, Christian?
I
If
think
you wore a wig?
if I wore a wig,
Yeah,
but
I think the
I don't
beard
know, make a top like you might work. I'm not sure.
the beard would be a giveaway that we're not actually female.
I don't know. I mean, like there are bearded women in carnivals, you know.
Yeah. Bearded lady. Yeah.
Bearded ladies, right?
True that.
Be right back.
I meant
Be
to tell
right back.
James. Again, when you share to people to come on, it still says that that old message from December. So it's not actually a real link of everything. It's just it looks like you accidentally sent the same thing.
So as far as his verbiage in OBS, Chad.
No, it's like when he shares it on Facebook, it still says, here, I'll read it to you. Hold on.
Did you get that, James?
He's peeing.
Oh. Okay.
Well, there's a woman on here now.
Thank you,
Hey.
Yeah.
Thank you, doll.
Welcome.
A real woman. A real woman.
A seriously real woman.
Shit's about to get real.
Cheryl, do you have news for us?
Well, Fidel Castro's Fidel Castro's son committed suicide yesterday. He was battling depression. He was 68 years old. And what else happened? In Shanghai, a driver drove through people. Several were injured, but they said it wasn't a terrorist attack.
Wow, that's quite a jump there between we go from Cuba to Shanghai. Wow.
Yeah.
It's the way of the world nowadays.
It is, but that's the way it works. Exactly.
It says, Monotalk with James, 12/1/17, a late night special, Progressive Soapbox, Zoom Politicon, and Red Economics.
Thanks, Chad, because I did note that I did note the date on that.
It says, so it keeps saying the same thing, like, and there's no link, so people aren't really getting the opportunity to watch it while it's going. You know what I mean? Like,
Well, some of our production values are slipping, a bit.
well, I mean, we're organizing.
We'll catch up. We'll get back to it.
Shit's coming together. That stuff's just the polish. You know what I mean? Once
It is polish, yeah, but it should be tightened up, don't you think?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's you designing the output is everything. So
yeah.
In order for people to,
Well, that's my big thing right now because I am progressing over to Steemit, and they've got some new capabilities over there. Their website and some of their clicking around and that kind of stuff is different, but they've pretty much integrated the video technology right into Steemit. It seems Steemit is a little bit more bloggish than, let's say, maybe a Twitter or a Gab is. I'm not sure about that yet.
I'd say get on Gab.
I like Gab for the fact that you can just drop stuff right onto Twitter almost automatically. But on the other hand, it's like I'm learning this stuff and getting into OBS because I want to get my OBS chops working with this new video arm of Steemit because the content over there, it's all compensated. So if you're putting content up on Steemit, the whole point of it is you're going to see some monetization, and you even get monetization on Steemit for likes, that kind of thing. So as far as a social media platform, there's definitely some stuff to like about it.
Exactly.
Literally like about it. So if you guys are thinking about, especially if, Facebook has pretty much been discredited, but with Twitter, moving more towards censorship, we as activists have got to go, where we can have some impact as well as have some fun, with fellow activists. That's one of the great things that I like so much about this platform is it's given me the opportunity to meet all of you. Because our power is all well and good as a single entity, boy, but when we get together, we're powerful.
United as one, empowered as one.
Empowered as all? Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Tech, I love that Marvin Gaye song you sent me.
That's a traditional, though, don't you think, Cheryl?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that song. You know that song, Abraham, Martin, and John, Chad?
Yes. Yes.
But Marvin's version, he adds Bobby into it at the end.
Right.
Great song. He's so smooth. Marvin Gaye is so smooth. It's just, oh my God, he's such a great singer.
Damn, he did the Star Spangled Banner in a cappella smooth.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I was always afraid of playing the Star Spangled Banner as a trumpet player because of that top note. Because that top note is way up there, and you can rip. Well, you guys heard the way Roseanne butchered the Star Spangled Banner.
Oh yeah,
it's easy to do, and I know you're a singer, Cheryl, so you know how hard that song is to sing.
It's a hard thing. It's a hard song to
Well,
sing.
it was kind of easy for me to sing because I had to learn how to sing it and how to say it and make sure every word I said you understand it.
Yeah, but what you've got like mini Ripperton range, right, Cheryl?
Oh no, I used to have close to many Ripperton range, but not no more.
Will you sing it for us? Go ahead, sing it. 1, 2, 3, go.
Oh.
No, I'm not singing right now.
Come on, aren't you feeling patriotic right now?
Abraham, Martin, and John patriotic, baby.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free.
Baba.
With golden soil and wealth for toil, our home is girt by sea. I'll quit now.
Snork, can you sing the Iowa national anthem? Is there one in Iowa?
No, you just bang 2 corn stalks together.
You're on fire tonight, Snork. You're on fire.
Who's singing America at the Super Bowl?
Who's singing it? The opener?
Yeah.
Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
It'll probably be Roseanne, right?
No, I don't think so. Somebody else, but I swear Ray Charles did the best on that song.
I'm gonna have to disagree on that one. I think the guy that did the Star Spangled Banner the best for me was Jimi Hendrix.
No, not the Star Spangled Banner. I'm talking about that song, America.
Oh, the beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm talking about that song. Ray Charles killed that song.
America, fuck yeah.
Team America World Police. Such a great movie.
Dude, watching it now, it's even, it makes even more sense. It's crazy.
Yeah, yeah.
Sad, but crazy.
This is going to be the first year I watched the whole Super Bowl game through the. Well, maybe no, I can't say that because if my shows on, I'm going to watch them too. So.
Are you all set up, Cheryl? Have you got multiple TVs? Are you ready to go? Multiple.
Yeah, we have every TV on the goddamn house. I'm bleeding green, baby, bleeding green.
Okay, so what kind of food are you going to have?
I'm not sure what we're going to do, but I know we have buffalo wings. I'll make these garlic parmesan wings.
Nice.
And regular buffalo wings, cheesesteaks, hoagies.
Oh so you're having a bunch of people in?
Oh hell no! It's just me and my family. It's just us.
Okay, so you're not going to open your place up. You're just going to be your
no.
Family. All right.
Yeah. The times today you cannot be doing that really.
Yeah. I see what you're saying there. I haven't decided yet what I'm going to have. I might have some. I don't know. I might splurge and get some pizza rolls.
Oh, by the way, the Nashville mayor just got caught in a scandal. She was banging her head of security, and it just came out. So like yesterday she had to do this press conference and everything, which I thought was interesting.
Who are you talking about?
Mayor Megan Barry is her name. She's married and stuff. One of the news reporter asked her and said, basically they're asking if she was going to, whatever, leave the office, and he asked her, do you think it's unfair? Because if it was a man in that position, he would be expected in order to, resign, even if it was, a consensual thing. It would be considered him taking advantage of his position with whoever, Anyway, so it was like the head of her detail. And then they went on these trips and stuff like that for work, but I thought it was interesting.
Was this a local lawyer? A local mayor?
Nashville.
Nashville. I didn't hear you say Nashville. Sorry.
Yeah. No, it's like the Nashville mayor. So like you can look up like the whole press conference. Yeah.
Nashville's big. Yeah.
So and it sucks because they
I think you guys missed in chat earlier. I put in that Don Lemon's older sister passed away from an accidental drowning yesterday.
And that's Don Lemon from CNN?
Yes, she was 58 years old. She was, I guess, fishing in a boat and fell over, and then she happened to drown. He wasn't even on TV Thursday night.
Wow. Where did that, do you know where that happened at?
Louisiana, because that's where he's from.
Oh, I didn't realize he was from, so he's from Cajun country. Wow.
No wonder that makes sense.
Why would that make sense, Chet?
I don't know. I'm not a big fan. Sometimes people tend to overdo it, to fit in kind of thing. I'm just not a big fan. I think he's,
I know what Chad's saying.
You see what I'm saying? Like he misses the mark. Like, so he's going to try harder, obviously to fit in like the whole, because it's the white man world kind of thing. You know what I mean? So
right.
Like, for him to get out and for him to operate within a certain system, it's just interesting, because it wouldn't.
Cheryl, would it be fair to call Don Lemon Uncle Thomish?
Yeah, and he got more bitchy since he came out fully on CNN. Because he used to be here on our regular news on NBC 10. He wasn't like that. And you didn't know he was gay then.
So he was local. He was local in Philly?
Yeah, he was local in Philly. Then he left here, and then he wound up being on CNN.
Yeah.
But he was fine on CNN at first. But it just got crazy with this election. It changed everybody. I'm not going to say everybody, but it changed the people that you didn't like to watch on TV and listen to.
Yeah.
Well, it revealed them. It revealed them, really.
They had lost their fucking mind. Money can buy anything.
Well, let me put this twist on it, guys. And I am no expert on any of this because I don't watch CNN anymore. It's probably been 6-7 years. I still see clips. You know, I'll still see people referencing tweets, you know, that kind of thing. But it's been a long time since I've watched mainstream media. But with Don Lemon, I get the vibe like maybe he's competing with Van Jones. No,
Van Jones. I don't see that, but I don't watch it. I just see clips like you only when I go in the room, my husband have it on, but
right.
Other than that,
because between the two of them, I don't know. I think Van Jones got like a much bigger profile than Don Lemon. I mean, nationally as being well known.
Yeah, but he's another shield too.
No doubt, no doubt. I'm not questioning that at all. I know Van Jones so much better than Don Lemon. The fact for me is when I hear that somebody's from Louisiana, I have a soft spot for Louisiana. So lots of history down in Louisiana that I'm somewhat familiar with. And I don't know. I didn't know that Don Lemon was from there.
I'm just so sick of politicians. Like yesterday, our Congressman Bob Brady, long time crooked. I didn't know he was crooked. It's always wondered why he ran, and it was never. He always ran uncontested in a Democratic primary. Coming to find out, he's paying people off that will run against him. So that's why he's been in there for years. But one thing I could say a good thing about him, when the SEPTA bus go on strike, he does help them get off a strike. That's one good thing. He's good with helping the unions get off strike.
He's an arbitrator.
But other than that,
he's like a, you know, they refer to that as arbitration. He's like a union, does union arbitration.
Yes, he's really good with that. I'm gonna miss him for that, but he was crooked. He paid off people not to run in the primary against him. Because I always like, why nobody else run against him in the primary? He always won.
I wish. I kind of wish right now that that Rebel was still here. I sent her a tweet yesterday. I think it was pretty much just a Rebel. But there was an article out on Twitter yesterday, and they were talking about the controlling arm of the DNC. It's like the 4-letter. I think it's the 4-letter DCCC or whatever it is.
Oh, the DCCC.
Yeah,
they are pitiful.
And they are controlling elections now, paying people, not paying people, that kind of thing.
Well, wait a minute. Listen, Tech Move, they making progressive candidates asking them to help pay for their consultants.
Right. That too. That was part of it. It was kind of the article, as I remember it now, it's coming back into my brain a little bit. Stuff like this sometimes I like to have like a foil. I like to have somebody to run it back against. Because I want to.
And they don't allow them to have the vote. What's that thing called? The voter thing, where they get the list of the voters.
Right. The election. Yep. Let's say they call it like the log of voters, or
VAN.
What's that, Snort?
It's called the VAN. The VAN.
VAN. Okay.
That's it.
They would look at those numbers and they would base their their tactics, against that type of thing. The point of this, though, was it was kind of like this article that I was referring to. They were talking about the various states where the DCCC is going in and manipulating these progressive or more neoliberal candidates, and obviously pushing their candidate and pushing the progressive candidates aside.
Yeah, they want the Republican light candidate.
They want Republican light candidates, exactly.
Yeah, some of them that used to have the R behind their name and then got the D all of a sudden.
And
just like they try to do with Pennsylvania with that Christy McGinty, what's that, Katie McGinty. I knew she was going to lose because they fucked Sestak in the ass. They wouldn't support him.
Right. Now, what we're talking about is they are going to the Republicans.
Yeah, they've been doing it.
Yeah, they're going to the Republican light, or let's say the Republican not as well known. Because if some of these tactics and whatnot were better known, where they were, grabbing these, sycophant candidate or potential candidates at, we might know a little bit more. We might be paying a little closer attention. But if you don't know where they're getting their candidates from, and they are actually Republican light, but they're acting Democratic, I mean, obviously it's putting us at a huge disadvantage.
Yeah, they're not worried about the American people. And honestly, the DCCC was created by Rahm Emanuel.
Yeah, exactly. And we know he's pretty much been discredited. I mean, he's a complete fuck up as the mayor of Chicago.
He's fucking that city up bigly.
Yeah. And that's too bad because they got great baseball and pretty good eats in Chicago.
And now here in Philadelphia, we got about 5 or 6 candidates up for Bob Brady's seat now. I'm like, oh boy, here we go. And one of the guys, I forgot his first name, but his name is Singletary, last name. And he's talking about, all the African Americans should just get around me. I'm like, what the hell is he talking about? Because he's African American.
Sorry, Cheryl. I didn't want to, because I know so very little about Philadelphia politics. I wish Dom was here. Maybe we could get that combination going between the two of you.
Man, they are so corrupt.
But I had
this city is so corrupt.
I had a question for Snork, or a reflection or an observation anyway. There's this guy.
Because Bob Brady was under FBI investigation for what he did. And it all started with this big union boss, big Hillary supporter. And his nickname here in Philly is Johnny Doc. He's under investigation. They even went to our new mayor's office that got files out of his office because they grew up as best friends.
And his name,
I don't know what that.
Johnny Dot. Johnny Dot?
Yeah. That's his nickname here. I forgot what union. It's a big union. They love him. They had a big sign out there outside their union hall when she was running.
Because that almost sounds mobbed. That sounds mobbed up. Johnny Dot.
Yeah, well, he's from South Philadelphia. South Philadelphia is known for the mob.
Trying to remember, where was that? Can you guys remember, where was Hoffa from? Jimmy Hoffa? Do you remember, Cheryl? Maybe that's a long.
Minnesota.
Minnesota.
Yep.
Is he the one that's missing? They trying to find his body?
But as a union boss,
Yep.
What big city was he in, though, Christian?
That I don't know.
Yeah.
Now Johnny Doc, his name is Johnny Doherty, but his nickname is Johnny Doc, and he is the business manager of Local 98 of the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers.
See, I never would have guessed electrical. I would have thought Teamsters.
And he is known for beating up people, other contractors that wanted to do work. That's on video.
Wow. So he's an electrician, yeah. Johnny Dot. What a great name.
Makes me think of oh, the shark bite has such teeth big.
Exactly.
That's to Bill. I don't know the lyrics.
Really is dirty, man. Dirty. I mean, several people went to put Shaka Fatah. And I'm pissed off with him. He did so much good, but he had got so damn greedy.
Yeah, he's supposed to be buried there, Snork.
Yeah, they always trying to find his body. You see documentaries come on TV every now and then about that.
Oh, I found something that you guys would really love so much. Where's it at? There you go.
I could have sworn, now that I'm thinking about it, I'm getting a vague recollection about Jimmy Hoffa in New Jersey. But maybe I'm just thinking Tony Soprano here, so.
Oh, listen to Kamala Harris.
I know.
Please, bitch.
I know. I've been like
this
saving.
Is a freaking witch hunt.
Oh, and it's like the way that they do it is crazy. It's like here, and these memes. It makes it so hard to battle because it's like they say something about Obama and then they say something about they make it like where you have to be against one or the other. I'm trying to find the one I just said.
They just don't want to believe that Obama weaponized the DOJ and the FBI to spy on Trump before the election started.
Yep.
Right.
That's what they're hoping to get back, because that's their rallying cry. They all hate Obama.
See this right here? So this was Donald Trump. They tweet like this, like the Occupy Democrats and some of these stuff where
Obama killed he destroyed Occupy Democrats. Obama.
But see the way they do it, like it's little stuff like that pisses me off. So I've been saving it because it's the way that they do it. I got some memes and shit. These are some good ones out here. 35% of Puerto Rico, 450,000 still without power. This one I thought was.
And I hate they had Jay-Z on TV talking about black folks because he forgot where he came from, talking about what Donald Trump called the country shitholes. Well, did you think about slinging them drugs when you were slinging it and made them that area shithole? You got to think before you talk. He forgot about his past.
Yeah, well, I mean, here's the thing. There's a reason. He goes, let he who hasn't raw dogged a porn star just after birth of his fifth child with his third wife cast the first stone.
Wow.
That's a Trump Jesus or Trump Christian. This I thought this was good. The solution for the Israel-Palestine conflict. Relocate Israel into the United States. Israel's our most loved by Americans. America will welcome Israel with open arms in their homes.
But that fits though.
Yeah, right.
Sold out, as up their ass, Israel's ass,
Oh my God.
or they're up our ass as our puppet master, they would fit, especially under Trump and under this current environment, the way that we're handling the United Nations with Nikki Haley, Israel coming here makes complete sense.
You know, FEMA just left Puerto Rico.
See, look at this. See, look at this. This is the kind of stuff like too, like some of this U.S. Democratic Socialists. I've seen them post some pro-Obama stuff, but it's like they forget what we've been doing. You know what Obama did, what Bush has done. Like, but that's how they frame it. Like, you know, they throw Obama in there, like they say something that's correct about Trump or vice versa, but then they, you know.
Good night, Christian.
Paul Ryan.
Good night, Christian.
Good night, Christian. I hate this guy, Paul Ryan. So this is kind of something I want to do. I want to do like reports on all the corrupt people, so we can really start listing out all the crimes. We can show exactly what they voted for, all this shit, and then eventually get some attorneys, get some lawyers, and try and find the statutes, try to find whatever we can to show exactly what crimes they committed, and paint the picture. That way we can say, when we have a motherfucker.
Well, I want to build that case. Exactly, Chad. I want to build that case.
You see what I'm saying? So that way.
I'm playing a game myself right now. I know there's a very large, I'm safe in saying this because I know she's not around and she's not listening to us. But there's a law firm down in Mississippi, and they're known in Texas and they're known in Florida. I'm not going to say the name of the law firm, but this gal, who basically is my conduit through Twitter, that's kind of what I do with her. She Twitters. She's amazing. She's brilliant. She's absolutely brilliant, and she's got a breadth of knowledge. I don't know. She's got a brain on her that I just completely envy. But I'm kind of doing the same thing with her, Chad, and I'm thinking that we need to do similar things. We need to do that kind of thing. So if you guys have got lawyers in mind, or you know lawyers and they're sympathetic, they might be progressive and whatnot, or they're just open-minded. And start to build cases against some of these people.
Well, and the idea is to say, okay, well, we can do it on a federal level, and we can do it on the state level, and we can do it personally. I think if we start, because the whole civil forfeiture thing, if we focus on saying let's do some civil forfeiture with some of these billionaires, some of these cats that have been stealing and pretty much murderers, there are some people in Congress. We start focusing like that narrative. We're taking your complete wealth for your corruption. You're doing it to all these different people,
Yeah.
So I just want to have it mapped out by state.
Sorry, Chad.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, I was digging on what you were saying there. I just wanted to blow it out a little bit more macro and go a little more broad on that, by saying we can.
We can ask the CIA what they have on Congress, because that's why they haven't been working. They may have was obstructing Obama, but they shouldn't allow Obama to be going over there in Syria illegally, and they let him do it. They obstructed him on everything else but that.
So Cheryl came back to me with just the piece of information that jogged my memory, which is, think about what we've got left for working parts of our three-part government. And basically all we've got left that somewhat works, somewhat is still giving us victories, is the court system. So if we've got a court system with some of these judges that are still actually able to think, able to use their rationale, able to, know the difference between right and wrong, even at that level, the courts are still giving us some victories. So if we get litigious on these guys, it might work.
And then it's the pressure, that and that's the way we do it, because it's there. That's why they do it, the lawyers. That's why we need, so that way they can make the laws and everything has to go through them. So they can argue their point, they can argue, and they can make whatever they need to made written out. So it gives them the opportunity or the freedom to do it without any repercussions.
And we can go down as far as, just contacting paralegals and that kind of stuff. There is so much infrastructure in this country as far as support people and whatnot that we could tap, as far as people wanting to make cases that no case law, that no precedence, to give us validity, on these grounds, so that we can go after these fuckers, even quote case law to their face and tell them, fuck you, you're wrong.
And personal stuff too. That's we need to do class action and against these politicians, personal, for what they've done.
Civil suits.
Yeah. So we do in every state. We can do again the civil, however, whatever court you can file something in, we file it. As many as we can do. We give the blueprint to people in all the states, and we can do the federal shit and again file that in each state, and then apply that pressure.
So Chad,
I like it.
So Chad, I've got this Twitter contact that I know here locally in Portland. And I've been trying to get under her bonnet, and I don't mean that in any kind of a male-female way at all. I've just been trying to, I've been trying to get her to notice me. I've tweeted her. I haven't been able to get her to notice me. Maybe you could bat your eyes at her or do something, or, talk her up. And her handle, her Twitter name is PDX Law Girl. And she's always posting about this kind of stuff. She could very well be somebody, we're talking about litigious stuff here that we could use. And I know she's progressive. Either that or, we just start looking into what I was so enamored with and pretty much got me started in my activist career so long ago, was just being more aware of the ACLU. And besides
what's up with them?
Besides the ACLU, as far as civil rights and, personal rights are concerned, let's start looking
why didn't they fight Obama on the removing habeas corpus?
Well, because the problem is damn near every agency or every program, even though they may do some good, there's still, the way the laws and everything's set up, there's going to be corrupt people and people that are skimming and being predatory off that.
Because we got corrupt judges out there.
Yeah, I mean, that's all it is. It's so you can with the internet, we could really map this out, because it's relationships. Anybody tell you that. You have the right attorney. You pay the money for the attorney that has a relationship with the judge that they've already been.
That's exactly why I said back to you, Chad. I'm not sure what this gal's motivation is. That's why I was saying, the most obvious one is, Chad, why don't you bat your eyes in her direction and see if you can get her, to notice you. I'm just saying we need to figure out where these people are at, and then if they don't want to give us the time of day or whatnot, we move along and we find somebody else.
Right. Basically, we need a team of attorneys and people on the legal mind, so we can pick their brains and give them all this information. And another thing is that Fiverr. I don't know if you guys need to get on that Fiverr. Shit's so cheap on there, and that's one of the things I'm going to do. Is because they have people that do research papers and do research, all that shit for like $20, $30, whatever, all over the world. So just dropping, $20 here, $25 here, and start putting together, documents. Because again, we just have to be able to punch them in the face. No matter what they say, punch them in the face.
Can we get organized to the point where we have like a repository and whatnot that we can go to, work out of for documents and whatnot? I mean, there's a bunch of different document type places out there, cloud storage, that kind of stuff, if that's what you were talking about specifically, Chad. But we've got to get organized.
And they were talking about the Dropbox too, Fly was or whatnot.
Yeah, Dropbox is one of them.
It would be cool if we had some sort of like public folder, and obviously we need to encourage whistleblowing, encourage
that's Dropbox.
Exactly. So maybe if we could build a coalition with at least the progressive media to say once a week or however, we all pull we pull from this box or whatnot, and we talk about the same thing, or however, we have some sort of organized thing. Say, okay, today this is our focus.
Yep. Yep.
If we all focus our energy tweeting at Paul Ryan, with his crimes and just, embarrassing the fuck out of them. Like these people, like the only way to really get them is to stay on their ass and then use one person as the example. And so these other people are like, motherfucker, I better back the fuck off. Because here's the thing, is all the information that the CIA, the FBI, all these people that have on them, that they're holding over their head in order to keep them in line or whatever they're doing.
They're dossiers.
Yep. Prostitutes they've been with, all this shit that some people don't care about. But those people, they bank on this certain type of a personality type. So all we need is all we need to do is find some girls, because these cats, well, girls, whatever, maybe some of them are into boys too.
Well, let's just call it a honeypot, Chad.
That's what we have to find. We have to find. You already know. You already know how they go.
I know that works. I'm just saying. Yeah.
But
I'm agreeing with what you're saying, man.
We have to appeal on a mass level and say, this person, we need to work this week to take this motherfucker down in a way that he has to resign because it's goddamn shame. I'm talking about wall of shame. We need to do a fucking website called American Wall of Shame, because that's I can't see. That's why I want people to
think about it this way too. And I'm not sure, because you've been very busy, with your new baby and with your girlfriend and whatnot. But Susie Dawson and what she's doing with Ms. DeVos, when they're going over the files, not Assange, but the other guy,
Edward Snowden.
Thank you, Eric. I forgot you were here. I don't see you on the screen, so it's like, but yeah, Edward Snowden's files. That's kind of what we're talking about. Susie Dawson and Ms. DeVos, have this corollary thing. Fly's involved in it. Eric's involved in it. I see Eric's tweets all the time about it. But kind of like they're going through these files with a fine-tooth comb. And we could do the same thing. Let's pick some folks, Ryan, for instance, make a case against them, go over the case, make the case airtight, and let's take them down. But my corollary, of course, is the amount of time, the amount of focus, the amount of effort that, Susie Dawson and Ms. DeVos, they're spending an awful lot of time going through these Snowden files. Man, this stuff is out there. We got to dig for it. We get some judges with a sensitive ear. This could work.
Well, we don't need just judges with a sensitive ear. We need to find our own judges to have, voted in.
I'm just saying, depending on the circumstances, Chad, if there were some judges with a sensitive ear, because that's all the game. That's one of the games that the lawyers play.
Right. True.
They'll be in a certain jurisdiction. They'll move a trial. They'll move this. They'll do that. Whatever the machination is. I'm not talking about that. But I'm also saying, yeah, our tactics have got to be multi-tactical, multifaceted, to where we use all different kinds of tactics. If we need to get judges elected, yeah, we work on that as well.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
I have a question, not to just get off this point, but have anyone been receiving some strange phone calls on their cell phones
you mean
saying you
when
have
Google
warrants
subscribing?
for saying you have warrants out for your arrest? Call this number and yada yada. And I receive it on my landline too.
Yeah, I've gotten those before. Those are just the scam stuff. They'll say stuff.
Yeah, I know it is. I'm just making sure I'm not the only one.
Right. I was gonna say, well, your number does pop up on there sometimes, but I don't know.
No, it's not because that's coming up on here. It was happening before that.
Yeah, but that's one of those things, though, Cheryl. And for Chad to mention that, that is a good thing, because people might prey on that number.
Well, can somebody change it, or
it's changed right now?
Yeah, no, I'm just saying when you first call in, it's obviously, people could, if they search for it, anytime you get on that, it's going to pop up for a second. But
that now,
that's why you need
right now. And that would be a question for.
We all need burner phone.
Yvonne, right? That would be a question for Yvonne, because of the people that are using Zoom and calling in on a phone, that number popping up, that is a lack of privacy issue.
Well, we don't have privacy anymore.
Well, in that sense, yeah, Cheryl, but why exasperate it was my point.
I know, I understand what you're saying.
And we don't have privacy anymore. Come on. I mean, with the NSA, forget it,
That should cease when Bill Clinton did that telecommunications thing. And that's when I started noticing at that time. I'm like, why is Verizon charging me so much money? And where all these different taxes come from? You call them, they don't know what the taxes are for.
So last night, you guys know who? He works in England now. He's an investigative journalist.
David Schuster?
No, he's the guy. He's the guy that he's on I-24. I like Schuster. No,
I love Schuster.
For some reason, I can never remember this guy's name, and he's been around forever.
Are you talking about Jonathan Pye?
No, I'm talking about an old guy. He's the guy that got involved in 2000 with the election rigging in Florida. Greg Palast.
Palast.
Greg Palast.
Yeah, well, I don't know. He's like establishment too, because he didn't mention about Hillary and them rigging the election.
No, and there's a lot of stuff that I don't like about Palast. Don't get me wrong. I didn't bring this up to talk about Palast. He did a thing on Facebook last night that I tuned into for a little while. There's another investigative journalist out there. His name is, he won a Pulitzer in 2001. His name is David K. Johnson. He used to write for the New York Times. He's wrote a bunch of books. He's pretty much a top-notch investigative journalism. Anyway, he was talking about this government agency, FERC, and saying FERC has been granted surreptitiously and kind of secretively. FERC, F-E-R-C is what I'm saying. It's the National Energy Regulatory. It might be commission on the end of it. I know I'm butchering that name, but this David K. Johnson was talking about FERC and the fact that they're the ones. They're supposed to be working for us. They're like a consumer watchdog, and yet they're doing exactly the opposite. So this might be one of those organizations that we need to check out. FERC. So I've been
I
asking.
think I heard of that before.
Yeah, they're out there. They've been manipulated big time, and like I say, for that to be on this guy Johnson's radar, I think it's probably a very legitimate concern. This guy Johnson, he's most recently these books that he's promoting. He's written a couple of books about Trump, and that's what he was talking about. Him and Plast were talking about that last night on this Facebook stream. His name is David K. Johnson. I'm gonna. I started looking at him today, just because he's got to have some credibility. He won the Pulitzer in 2001.
Does anybody remember this reporter, Ben Swan? He was an investigative reporter. He was fired. He delved into Syria, how we were funding this ISIS, and then when he got into the Pizzagate, he did that one episode. He was gone. He took down all his social media accounts and everything.
And is he still disappeared, Cheryl?
He's coming back now.
So who's he associated with now?
He's starting his own thing. Truth is media. That's where he start. But if you look up his name,
Does he spell his name with 2 N's? Swan?
I believe so.
Yeah. Yeah, because
he was good. Because I watched him. I followed him on Facebook, and I'm like, man, this guy's good. And he's doing this. And when he got into, he was investigating a whole lot of stuff until he got to that piece again. He was like, whoa, we need to investigate this.
Well, that's the thing
that
we should be doing with more of these journalists is we're bitching so much about the dearth and the lack and the crap that is our media. We should be holding these journalists feet to the fire and reminding them of some of these journalists that actually do their job, that actually do their work. You know, these guys like David Schuster, who's kind of been maligned and kind of marginalized. You know, the fact, I mean, it goes along with obviously RT being booted off and pretty much been booted out of the country. You know, what does that tell you about free
speech? Still in Washington.
It's a mockery. It's a mockery.
RT is still in Washington. They killed me. The government told me, oh, we don't know where they're located. The motherfuckers, they in Washington.
But guys like this Ben Swan, if he's not as well known, and he's got he's good, and he's got good credibility, and he's done good work, we should know about this guy.
He got throttled again.
Let's bring him on.
No, he's
What's
off.
North say?
He got throttled again 4 days ago. He just was getting back. Apparently, he was still under contract from WGCL, and they put the kibosh on his fundraising to start a new series.
Oh, they stopped that now, Snort?
Yep.
Damn.
Wow. Well, I'm glad somebody is using their computer and can multitask. Thank you, Snort.
I thought I saw that yesterday when I was looking him up. And I'm like, is that real? Because I just saw a video saying he's back.
Because I think you brought him up the other night, Cheryl. Ben Swan.
Yeah.
Yeah, you did.
But we got a pantheon of these guys, these investigative journalists. We just had another guy recently And I'm supposed to be this guy that has this long track record with media. At least that's in my mind. That's where I pride myself at. I hadn't even heard of this guy. He's the guy that ran Consortium News, and he just recently died.
Oh, I heard of him.
Yeah, that guy. And people were, bowing down to him left and right. I saw a ton of RIPs on that guy, and I went to Consortium News, and with everything that's going on, I mean, how do you keep track? It's endless. It's endless.
Like what they did to Michael Hastings.
Yeah. If these people are not gonna play ball, they're gonna marginalize you. They're gonna take your job away from you. They're gonna turn you into they're gonna turn you into a psychological wreck. And then throw you out.
Did you hear this story about the founder of RT News? He was found dead in his hotel in Washington, and they said he beat himself to death. How the hell can somebody beat themselves to death?
Were bricks found, or barbells, or did something fall on him besides his own?
No, this is according to our FBI.
Oh God!
He beat himself to death.
I don't believe it.
I don't believe
it either.
From what I heard of that, they said he had a heart attack. It was natural causes, and the bruises all from his head down to his ankles was just from falling. But he didn't fall downstairs or from a height or anything like that. Just heart attack, fell on the ground. He just, this doesn't make any fucking sense to me either.
See,
and then the final thing was he beat himself to death.
And he had a heart attack while they were beating him to death. That's what it sounds like.
Yeah.
See, I want the same thing we're going to do with the people in office or whatnot. We need to do the same thing for the FBI, the people in the FBI, FDA, all that kind of stuff. And tweet at the FBI and say, hey, for the good people, for the people within there, you have to clean your own shit. You have to clean your own house. Otherwise, what you represent, what you care about, is going to waste, because things like this. Again, the FBI fucking driving the guy in Texas, drove a guy with a gun, dropped him off at that place a couple years ago or something like that.
You guys at all need an aspirational story. It's not that good of a movie, but there's a movie out about Deep Throat. Came out last year. It's about Mark Felt. And
that Deep Throat.
Mark Felt, back in the 70s, during Nixon and Watergate, he was actually, I didn't even know what his position was. This guy didn't actually come out and actually come clean and say that he was Deep Throat until 2005. But back in the day, what you're talking about is, if you watch this movie, and you'll see that this guy was an honorable FBI agent, and he saw the people around him, the political machinations, Nixon trying to control the FBI as far as whether the crimes and whatnot at the Watergate was going to come out. And this guy, Mark Felt, held true to his convictions and his ethics, and pretty much he was the one that brought it down, because then, of course, pretty much everybody knows about the Washington Post and Woodward and Bernstein. Well, it was Mark Felt as Deep Throat that was feeding them the information. But there's this movie, and it's pretty well portrayed in the movie how much of a stand-up, ethical, rational, by the book FBI agent this guy Mark Felt was.
But see, there's the other thing too. By the book thing, that's the other problem is because it's not just by the book. We don't need people just by the book, and we have to make the distinction because the book's wrong. The policies are wrong. So these people are operating. First of all, they're operating with how they interpret that book. So
I think my point, Chad, is, and I probably have you a little bit at a disadvantage because my language is probably going to be a little light. It would be a situation where, Chad, you and I get together and we sit down and we watch this Mark Felt movie, and then me being older than you, I'm going to say, dude, I was in high school.
We're going to take a music break. Hopefully you guys can do this.
James, we're right in the middle of something, and now you're going to break us up?
I remember this.
Play the music.
Music, Lou.
This is my buddy in Hawaii, on the island of Hawaii.
It's over in the desert. Go out his way on horseback. So long ago it's silly and sweet. Last night I dreamt I was returning. My heart poured out to you, but I feel you won't be right like you. Yeah, aloha, Romeo,
Okay, I'm not trying to be mean, but can anyone else not hear what he's saying? No, I mean, the music sounds good, but like his words for it, I can't make them out.
Oh, okay.
You have to feel it.
But man, you have to listen to that kind of music even if you don't understand the words.
I no longer can it see.
It's actually probably not the best position.
That night I was running. My heart poured out to you, but I feel you walking like I love you. Que aloha.
Drinking the beers. He's got the beers, brother. That's why he's playing. I went to high school with this guy. He used to play music with my father.
Are you guys related?
We could be, but we're not.
I don't know. I see some resemblance.
Right.
slowly on the road to go. Oh no, 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 no. Oh no, no, oh yeah. Man, when they was
Anyway, pretty
Hey,
cool, right?
do you guys remember Bob Woodward? Pulitzer Prize journalist, always had a close tie to every president in the White House.
Oh.
He has not been here.
Who?
Been there, and Bob Woodward. He was always with had access to the White House with the president, and he is disappointed with the journalists today. He hasn't been on any news.
He's a writer. He's written a bunch of books, Cheryl.
Yeah.
It's the same.
Yeah.
It's the same Woodward and Bernstein. He's famous for breaking the Watergate story.
Yeah, but Bernstein always on TV. Bob Woodward is not on because he's been criticizing the media.
And I don't know, maybe they have chastised him a little bit. I think, like I say, he's kind of changed himself more into this guy that I even brought up a little while ago, David K. Johnson. It's the same thing. These guys are so good; they can make that leap. They can make that change. They go from journalists to writers, and they write nonfiction or supposedly nonfiction, and that's what Woodward has turned himself into. He's a writer,
and I think he'd be the first writer that didn't have access to the White House for the first time. He had every president.
He definitely wrote a tell-all back on Bush that was pretty influential.
Not enough. Not influential enough.
Well, as it turns out, yeah.
Sorry.
James said 10 minutes and he's out.
And do his monologue. Monologue with Jim.
Some of the things that you notice and some of the things you don't. That's the first time that I had even connected that was spelled that way.
What, the monologue?
Monologue and monologue. Yeah. And I thought, nice play on words, James. Nice play on word, James. It's very
Monotalk Jim.
Yeah, monotalk. Monologue. Yep.
Monologue Jim.
I got a question for Snork. If he's, let me see. Oh, he's
here.
He's sitting there waiting.
Are you familiar with what is it? I forgot the actual name for it. But when you can use water to generate a spark gap by water falling. Like I think it's generated due to static electricity or whatever.
Tribal electricity.
Huh?
TRIBO electricity.
I'm not sure if that's a name for it or not. I really can't remember. I've seen it a couple times.
A lot of us have seen it. Most don't realize it.
Oh, well, I'm just saying what would stop from like, okay, you know how you have your higher up reservoirs or whatever, what would stop from just making a waterfall and pulling power off that way and then sending it to a generator while it's going downhill? Like just a gigantic capacitor bank or something?
No, it's the purity of the water.
Does it have to be super pure to do something like that?
Yeah, reasonably pure.
You just need a good flux capacitor is all. Or Mr. Fusion. That really helps.
And back to the future.
Well, I'm just curious because, I mean, if you're purifying a reservoir and then kind of thinking, you were talking about, remember the one place they had the tunnels up high they made to store water in, but I mean, they could effectively turn that into their drinking water system, pull power off of it, and then after they use it, purify it. And I mean, I see a cycle in there where it might be doable to pull something like that off.
Tesla had something like it. The problem is that ions like iron and stuff in water tend to bleed off the electricity, whereas the water is a vapor in the air. If it's reasonably clean air, you basically build up lightning.
Yeah, that's why I said like a capacitor bank or something, like to try to pull that off. Or I don't know.
The biggest problem is in the bleed off in the water itself as it gets impure. And if you had a pure water, your idea would work fine.
That'd be an interesting way to store power, because you're using energy to purify the water. So at least you'd be able to recover some of that energy.
Yeah. Let me see if
while tying it into the system that would be your water supply. So you've got your purified water storage. You have multiple levels of recovery of power.
Can I just butt in for a sec?
Mm-hmm.
Bruins, what's your fucking problem?
What?
Seriously, what's your fucking problem? You say Australians got pedophiles. So does America. You say Australia.
I'm pretty sure every country does.
America. You say Australians are xenophobic. So is America. Shit, you're more xenophobic than us. We take in more refugees than you. Do you really want to go down that path? Do you really want to go down that path? You don't even know what the population count in Australia is. I mean, you can sit there and type away at your keyboard all fucking night, but you have no fucking idea. Sure, you went to Vietnam. You saw a few people in Vietnam. Big fucking deal. Bogans. Losers go to Vietnam. Australian losers go to Vietnam. They go to Bali. That's where the losers go because they don't want to spend too much money on going to, say, somewhere like Europe. They're the cheap bums that travel there. And you're going to take their word over facts. You're an ignorant tool. That's exactly what you are. You're an ignorant tool. You know nothing about Australia. So,
Bangarang Ryan.
No, this dude's just trying to rip me a new fucking asshole by saying that how he's been to Vietnam and talking and saying that Australians got pedophiles and stuff like that. I mean, what's the latest pedophile case that came out of America? A fucking doctor who fucking molested children. So I'll sit here and I'll fucking preach about a 12-year-old girl getting 40 years in a psychiatric hospital because she thought something on the internet was real. And it's not just one girl, it's two girls. They stabbed another girl in the woods 19 times. And you want to condemn these women, these small girls, to death, not to death, to life in a psychiatric.
And I'm hanging out with some of the boys at Mahalo.
Not just we're going to sit you there. It's forced psychiatric care. So go fuck yourself. That's all I can say. Just go fuck yourself. I don't care if James bans me. You're a fucking ignorant tool. Go back to Vietnam, where all the fucking deadbeat Australians are. Go to Bali, where all the deadbeat Australians are. Come to Australia or even do a little bit more than just research about fucking emissions and fucking, our population's not even 25 million. And I dare even say not even 20 million of that is white. So you're 35 million white people in Australia. is long fucking off the mark, my friend. So go fuck yourself.
Wow. Not a good way to end the night.
That's okay. I kind of was watching what was going on, and I don't know if Bruins is drunk or whatever's going on with him, but he was just picking away at fucking and Ryan. You know, you can only poke somebody so long before they just take off half your face. You know, so.
And I wanted to apologize to you, James, because you jumped back in there with that music break, and I think we needed a little break there.
Yeah, I should have played. I thought that would smooth everything out, but it did. Obviously, like that music it torques people, gets them triggered. No more Hawaiian music.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that. I don't think it was that. And I'm frustrated with this because I think we've already alienated enough people, and we want to bring people back into the fold. We want to bring more diversity in.
Yes and no. Like, I mean, we're still setting a precedent as far as, you know, I think everybody here is, for the most, is pretty respectful, you know, and even if.
I agree, Chad.
You know,
we
you
still
kind
have
of
our ups and downs.
Well, you learn the flow of things, and everybody has their own little thing, and you know,
it's useless.
I think it's important to show, you know, that type of, you know, character.
We don't know his tone. Let's just say that I don't know what Bruin's tone is because we can't hear him. When I'm typing sometimes and I'm saying certain words, some people may think I'm yelling. Some people may think I'm being disgruntled. Some people may think I'm joking. But when you're just typing words and you can't use, see, that's the problem with grammar and punctuation. There's not enough of it. Sorry, it's not utilized correctly, and not only is it utilized correctly, there's emojis and shit you can use. You know, I mean, that's what's going on with text. I mean, kids that are texting right now get each other when they're texting each other.
Yeah.
They understand each other finitely. But when I'm talking with them, they're like, "What are you saying, Dad? I don't understand I'm just trying to say it in just normal words," but they do things a little differently. Now, in regards to what's going on here, and I'm still watching it, and they're still fucking throwing blows. But and I'm not going to ban anybody. I just think they just need to get over it.
No, but to me, it's like having seen this platform grow the way I have, and the fact that we're utilizing it the way that we're utilizing it, you know, with Yvonne getting these politicians, with James, you getting more involved with the Greens, you know, this is fabulous. For Ryan to come on here and be an Aussie, and for us to have national reach, I mean, come on, why can't we? I know it's pie in the sky, and I'm going to sound like a pussy, and I don't want to sound like a pussy.
You're not a pussy.
But
you're not that tough.
Well, that could be too. You know, the wordage goes both ways. We've got limitations in our technology here, guys. We're dealing with chat. We're dealing with phones. We're dealing with people that show themselves, people that don't show themselves. Me.
All right, listen. I get it. I'm gonna shut it down. Thank you very much, Tech. I appreciate it.
We'll be back.
Thank you. I thank you.
Not everyone. Love you all.
I'll just thank you guys. I gotta go. No matter what happens, this is over. Aloha, guys. Give me the host, please, Mr.
Already did.
Oh, thank you very much for watching the show there for me, Eric.
No problem. You guys.
Thanks, Ted.
Everyone have a wonderful night, and thank you
Kev.
again.
Sorry about that. We'll try to get a better microphone, Kev, for my buddy all the way in Kauai singing Hawaiian music for us for free with some good slack key guitar playing. Yeah, so Australia left to preach. They are not most xenophobic, racist people I've ever known. Wow, it's just getting weird. Bruins, dude, this is not good. Okay, so I'm going to cut you off, Bruins, because you've been kind of abusive here on Ryan, and I don't know what you have against somebody that really hasn't done anything to you. Yeah, I know. Stupid. All right. You're out, Bruins. I'm not going to put up with that. I don't think anybody wants to. You want to email me, you want to tweet me or something, let me know what's going on. But that kind of stuff just doesn't fly here, dude. We're not here to do that. Okay, so, and I don't know what ignited that or started it. But I do believe what's important is that if there are any, I don't know, anything that's bothering you, anything that's going to trigger you or something, just talk about it. What's going on? Nobody's out to get you. Nobody's out to hurt. I mean, I don't think nobody here I know is trying to do anything to harm anybody. We're basically just trying to do the opposite, just inform people of what's kind of going on out there with whatever knowledge that we've obtained, and we bring it to you. This is what I said, and I was very, very stern on this, that when we do bring up information about this, that, or the other thing, and Evan said it, we got to check and make sure we're on par. We're set. We're good. Our ducks are in a row. Things are lined up properly. Anyway, yeah, when it starts getting heated, people with wrenches, that's why you got wrenches. If somebody gets a little weird, give them a warning, give them another warning. Third strike, they're out. Okay, that's just the way it is. And if they want to come back in some other time, that's fine. But I can't have people beating up on people in here. Ryan doesn't deserve that. Nobody deserves that. Okay, and we just don't tolerate it. So I don't know what was going on with you, Bruins. You've been here for a while. I don't know what happened. Hopefully we can kind of mend and talk or something. Come on, talk to us. What's up? What's going on, man? What is really going on, bro? Or girl, I don't know what it is. But I do believe, that I think there's a place out there that people need to see and go to. It's called the island of Kauai. And I haven't been there in so long. It's sad and pathetic. But at the same time, you never forget how beautiful that is and how wonderful those people are. And just look. I mean, he's sitting there drinking his beer. He's worked a long week. He works with giant operation cranes or something for the state, or I don't know. Has a really decent job. Just hardworking man. Kids are doing good. He's kind of an independent, maybe kind of a Ron Paul fan, but whatever. He's a good kid, and he really wants the best for his kids and his grandkids and stuff like that, et cetera, et cetera. But this guy's just kicking back, playing some slack key guitar, just not even that. He's just hitting the right chords, like Hawaiian music. It's not a slack key guitar, but he is playing just some really wonderful music and just enjoying himself. And just don't take life so fucking seriously. Man, I see it every fucking day. It's everywhere. Everywhere. And I really want to play I wanted to play my Xbox. I usually play for a little bit and then I go down. It kind of tires me out. But anyway, that was fantastic, Mr. Keikani Pa, my old high school buddy. You're a good guy and a good man, and I appreciate you doing that. And be healthy, drink your beers, enjoy your life. Bring that music to us, bro. That was awesome. I appreciate it. And we'll try to get the mic fixed for you later. Not to be a dick. You were, dude. No, I couldn't hear it either. I was just like, But it's just the way the mic was positioned by the guitar, bro. Anyway, he wasn't doing like a big performance or nothing. He was just kicking back in his front awning, where a lot of awnings, people in Hawaii don't have like garages really. They have awnings. Nobody's taking anything. If you steal something, you're not leaving the island, right? Unless you got a submarine, right, or a helicopter that can fly from island to island. But the thing is he played, man. He's having a good time. There are some wonderful people out there. There's some fantastic people that deserve a better life, not just for themselves, but the people they care about and love. And we've got to try to start focusing on that. We've got to try to start doing more for those people. You know, I'm trying to do it at a bigger scale. Yes, there's so much more that I need to do in my immediate village, of course, but I'm not perfect. I'm just spreading myself around, probably too thin, which I always have done in my life. I'm here, there, everywhere, man. I'm telling you, I am not. If I were to focus on one thing, and I think that was Jack Palance said in the movie. What was that movie? When he was with Billy Crystal was in it. When those guys went on that vacation. What is the meaning of life, Curly? He asked him. What is the meaning of life? Right? And Jack Palance, his name was, it was some Western, like, it wasn't a Western, but it was, these guys go out to this Western place, they do these cattle ranching things and stuff like that. It'll come to me in a minute. God, I just had it in my head and it just left. City Slickers, thank you very much, Matt Electro. I appreciate it. It's so good to have people that fill my brain that is terrible at retaining information. It's the fucking file monkeys are all messed up in there. But anyway, Billy Crystal asked Jack Palance, whose name is Curly, Curly, you're riding? He goes, Curly, what's the meaning of life? And then Curly looks over and goes, one thing. When you find out what that is, you'll be fine. If I just stuck to one thing, just one thing, I probably would have been a Jeff Bezos. You know. I just got my hands in so many things. It's got to be the ADHD, man. It's the ADHD. I know it is. But, you know, whatever. It's the way I work. That's the way I move. That's the way I groove. Still moving and grooving. You know. This train keeps rolling all night long. Thank you all for coming on. This is James with Monotalk. People come on here. We talk about a lot of things. A lot of information tonight. I was able to post a bunch of stuff on my Facebook. Take a look at that. It's important stuff. You know, whether you believe it or not, it's quite apparent. And I appreciate the people in the live chat. Even you, Bruins. I don't know what happened, bro. If he gets in touch with anybody, do me a favor. Just bring him back aboard or something. Yeah. I'm here to I am here to comfort and afflicted. I think it was more of a beginning of a misunderstanding. Anyway, be nice. You guys fix it. All right. Anyway, I'm going to go. You guys, aloha to everybody. Thank you all for coming on. I may be on tomorrow. I know it's Friday, but depending on how things go tomorrow with this Nunez memo, if they release it, it's on like Donkey Kong. Or I'm thinking I might go. I haven't been to the bar in a while. I might go up. I ride the bike out there. It's safe. I've only crashed once. It took out an entire bush. Anyway, Aloha, everybody. Have a good evening. Thank you all for coming to Montauk. Aloha, guys. Thanks for coming. Mahalo.